What's up, everyone? Don Tony here. It is Friday night, January 24th, 2020. No intro music yet because I don't even know what we're going to call this in the future. Do we call it the Don Tony Show? Do we call it Mailbag with the Scumbag? I don't know. We're going to figure that out in the near future, but I am up here. Hope everybody enjoyed Smackdown. Hope everybody that watched it enjoyed NWA Hard Times. Not a bad pay-per-view. I went back and forth trying to watch that, watching SmackDown, preparing for this, getting the questions together, doing a little bit of research. But unfortunately, I was on the phone tonight and talking to a few friends as well. We have some really sad news to report, and I think it's only appropriate that I open up with this. And yeah, we'll have some growing up Don Tony blended in with this as well, because anybody that heard part of this story years ago, it's weird how sometimes things just come together for strange reasons. For those on the Northeast, you definitely remember this man. For those who are into Combat Zone Wrestling, you definitely remember this man. I expect to see tributes coming out from everybody who used to be in and around CZW, including John Moxley and others. But for those that are not aware, Justice Payne, real name Christopher Wilson, 41 years old, passed away today. Suicide. He was the brother of Nick Gage, that a lot of people are not aware of that. I tell you, really, really sad. I can't even speculate, what got him so down and depressed, but committed suicide. And it's just a really, really rough time for a lot of wrestlers here in the Northeast, friends, fans. And look, I'm not going to be one of those guys that's going to come up here and give you, born this, and CZW and John Zandig and Nick Gage and the hate. You could get that everywhere else. I will give you my personal experiences with Justice Payne because I had the opportunity to meet him several times. And for anybody out there that, came across him, from what I remember, and that's why I'm wearing the XPW shirt tonight. I actually pulled this out of the closet. Haven't worn this since 2003. It actually fits pretty good. Sometimes cotton shrinks over the years, and I haven't worn this in, 17 years? But I tell you, man, it's almost 17 years to the anniversary, too. And I remember this clearly. Even if you don't know anything about Justice Payne, if you never saw him wrestle, I will tell you firsthand, and I'm sure PWBTS.com comes to mind, those questionable individuals over at PWSpyware.com, and don't look up that actual domain, it's PW Insider. But, I've always told this, when I started working for XPW, when they were coming here on the Northeast, I did the bus trips, a lot of the hyping, a lot of the promotion here in the Northeast, was able to give a couple of ideas to, the local guy Slash. Still waiting for that guy's apology, by the way. And yes, somebody asked me, would you drop that, bury the hatchet? Of course I would. It's water under the bridge. But anyway, when I started doing stuff for XPW in 2002, there was a crazy amount of backlash. It's funny because to this day, some people would never go out and admit it publicly. But you have no idea how many people that were in and around XPW that just was so angry at some wrestling websites. I mean, if you see what goes on with I'm not getting political here, but if anybody follows fake news and all of the news media that just despises Trump and goes after him, just picture that in 2002 with wrestling news websites and the Northeast and XPW. Not on that level, but it's a really good comparison. Anybody lived through that knows exactly what I'm talking about. And I'll tell you, there was some people in and around XPW who were angry and had hatred for some wrestling news websites out there. And the minute they got involved with Wrestling Society X on MTV, and to see these same websites praising it, giving them support, I could tell you firsthand that there were people in and around XPW, when they got that support for Wrestling Society X, they did interviews and they appreciated it publicly, but behind the scenes, spit on those fucking people. And by the way, I am going to make a concerted effort to tone down the strong language. I am still new to YouTube. This is only, the fourth video I'm doing. So as time goes on, things will progress. If you look in the background, I added a couple of things today, and there's going to be a lot more things in the near future. But so XPW was bitterly hated. And I'll never forget Bob McGee. Still can't believe that guy hasn't died a slow death, but that guy would go around Philadelphia and put in people's mailboxes, "Porn is coming to your neighborhood." What's up, Danzy 678, my friend? Big, proud member of the Donzilla Army. And I will get into everybody's questions in a little while. And by the way, I think we're going to do this just for fun. The thread that's on YouTube, where you can leave the opportunity for some question and answers that I'm going to answer tonight, and hopefully I'll get into all of them. But I decided what I'm going to do is this. I don't know if you can see this, but down here, I have tons and tons of boxes. I think what we're going to do, maybe every time we do a Q&A, is after I do this show, go back on that YouTube page and look at everybody's questions that were asked and listen or think back to my answers. And for the person that gets the most likes on the YouTube page, let's say within a week, what I will do is I will personally ship you absolutely free one of these. And it's ceramic. It's not plastic or anything like that. So I think maybe we'll do that every time we do a Q&A from now on. You will vote as far as who will get it. So anyway, check this out. XPW bitterly hated in the Northeast. Bob McGee going around Philadelphia. "Porn is coming to your neighborhood," doing everything they can to shut it down. I don't like getting into real deep personal stories, but I will never forget, and I brought this up before. Anybody remember Boogaloo and Lowrider? I will never forget standing in Baldwin, Long Island, and Boogaloo and Lowrider. I don't remember if Boogaloo is the one that had the family, but they were just looking to have an opportunity, make some money, take care of themselves, their family. And they were wrestling, it might have been Ring of Honor at the time. And because, and I don't think they would ever mention it publicly because they don't want to stir it up. They don't want politics, even though it's all these years later and the Ring of Honor owners now are not the same from back then. But still, they're just class acts and they're not going to diss anybody. But I remember one of those two just absolutely frustrated that they were literally going to be blackballed from wrestling promotions here in the Northeast. I think Ring of Honor was probably the one, simply because they were going to wrestle on XPW. Saw it with my own eyes in somebody's house in Baldwin, and it was just so messed up. So now, what does this have to do with Justice Pain? So you have Ring of Honor, Combat Zone Wrestling, bitterly hating XPW coming to the ECW arena. You had websites bitterly hating it. They had a big meeting with the Philadelphia State Athletic Commission, Bill Apter. Anybody that wants to, just chew his ear a little bit, off the record, he'll tell you. They did a big meeting with the Philadelphia State Athletic Commission trying to ban all hardcore wrestling in Philly, especially after what had gone down with Terry Funk and Shane Douglas in the first ever Hostile Takeover. So I was actually in the ECW arena during the afternoon when all of these feds, including WWF, was going to be meeting with the Philadelphia State Athletic Commission, and Bill Apter was going to try to, smooth things down because there was so much tension. Anyway, Justice Pain, big-time wrestler at the time in CZW. He was wrestling in CZW, and XPW wanted to bring somebody hardcore from the Northeast to take on Supreme. Up until this point, you pretty much had Angel, the hardcore homo, battling with Supreme, but they wanted a hardcore Northeast guy, and they got it with Justice Pain. And Justice Pain showed up in XPW, and the Nuclear Heat, by the way, shout out to Nuclear Heat, who's working on so much artwork for my shows. Much appreciated, much love, and never too many wrinkles. But Justice Pain shows up in XPW, and if anybody wants to go back and watch the matches with him and Supreme at My Bloody Valentine in 2003, New Year's Revolution in 2003, you'll see me sitting at the timekeeper's table. Crazy, crazy shit. So Justice Pain was the #1 hated wrestler in the Northeast at the time because he jumped from CZW to XPW. John Zandig, totally angry, pissed off at the time. And, you know, he only had a couple of matches because XPW unfortunately ceased operations in the Northeast after this. And it was a shame because everybody was having a ball, but, you know, it was really rough. And Rob Black ran into those legal troubles as well. So that was that. So anyway, 2004, and this is where everything comes together. Anybody that's a longtime listener may remember that, you know, Fat Frank, Jersey All Pro Wrestling, God rest his soul, he had a little minor promotion as well for up-and-coming people. I don't know if it was called JCW, something like that. And he actually gave me the opportunity to manage on a couple of those shows. And I remember him saying to me, he's like, look, you know, if you improve, you keep at it, you know, you'll be able to do some Jersey All Pro stuff. Obviously, it didn't work out. I was not good. But in 2004, Fat Frank decided, because now XPW is gone, that they were going to have a hardcore match in New Jersey for Jersey All Pro. And he decided he was going to have Chaos versus Justice Pain. What's up, Midnight Blue? And, all right, yeah, I'll do it. I'll wear the Solid Monster t-shirt on the next Wednesday, Night Don-O-Mite. Maybe I'll wear it Monday. Want me to wear it Monday for the DTKC show? By the way, for everybody interested, the Royal Rumble pay-per-view this weekend, and I am going to give predictions in a few minutes, but you know, we're just talking, chatting, telling some stories. That's what I do. And now it's on video. But this Sunday, we don't know exactly what time the Royal Rumble is going to end. But I would say 10 minutes after the show is over, come right here to this YouTube channel. I will definitely post the streaming link on Twitter and on Patreon. And you're all welcome to come here live Sunday night for a Royal Rumble pay-per-view recap. Kevin Castle will be on with me. And for those that may not have listened to or watched Wednesday Night Dynamite, the video situation with Kevin, I will repeat this a couple more times over the next week, and then we're not going to bring it up again. It took me 6 months to prepare for these moments now going video. He's only starting at this. He doesn't want to do video. I totally respect that. He's thinking about it. And rather than having every week of people saying, hey, what's going on with video? What's going on with video? What's going on with video? You know, this is my channel. This is my YouTube channel. This is for my work and everything I do, and these shows are for all of you out there. But what we decided to do is a compromise because, I mean, the fact is I am a video podcaster now. I needed to move on. I needed to expand. I needed to broaden my, you know, what I do. After 23 years, it gets a little bit, you know, tiresome. So he's going to think about it, and we thought giving him 6 months would be a fair amount of time, and then we'll revisit it 6 months from now. If he decides he wants to go video at that time, hopefully in 6 months he'll be ready, prepared. Not just equipment, but up here too. You know, it took a lot for me to get it up here as well. So that's what it is right now. So Sunday night, you'll have the video, you'll see me, and you'll hear Kev. I know some of you out there are going to think that it's stupid and everything like that, but you want no show? So anyway, getting back to Justice Pain. Fat Frank decides he's going to have this event, and I actually pulled it up if anybody wants to check out the video. And the reason why I say this comes all together is you might remember that I used to tell stories of going to Jersey All Pro Wrestling and Jay Lethal God bless his family. I remember the old days in 03, 04, his family would be sitting in the rafters, in the bleachers, cheering him on. This is before Jay Lethal became a big-time star, but you knew he had something. And when I say I remember that card especially, you might remember it as well, that there was a match on that card of Homicide versus Teddy Hart. And they ended up brawling all across the building. At one point, they brawled into the crowd. And I'm sitting in the crowd with lowlife Louis Ramos, God bless that man. And we're sitting in the boondocks, and here is Homicide and Teddy Hart beating the fuck out of each other right in our laps. It was so freaking fun. And that same night, I got to meet Mike Johnson for the first time. And back then, I used to have a lot of things to say about him because of the politics and the shit that he would do with the bus trips and MLW and all the other stuff. I got to meet him, and I thought he was a really nice man. I mean, yeah, look, he's a snake in the grass. I don't wish any ill will on the guy. I mean, we don't, like each other. He don't give a crap about me. But I got to meet Mike Johnson that night, too. This is all the same card that Justice Payne is now going to have this XPW match with Chaos. Some of you know him as Kid Chaos. And the crowd hated it. Booed them out of the building. Irreparable Harm was not having it. And I don't know if this is on video, but if you go check out that video, you could see Justice Payne and Jersey Old Pro getting eaten alive by the crowd. They never forgave him for the stuff with Combat Zone Wrestling at the time and leaving for XPW. And I said this going back to the Hotline days. I felt so bad for people like Boogaloo and Justice Payne and others because they were just trying to take opportunities, just trying to work, trying to make money. Some of them had families. Some of them, got offered some pretty decent money. I mean, Rob Black was not, paying insane cash, but he was offering them pretty nice coin to do some work. And they were not trying to screw CZW. They just wanted to work. And the politics at that time were horrendous. Now, to be honest with you, if social media was around in 2003, I think a lot of this crap would not have happened. I don't even know if XPW would have been able to come to the Northeast because you could just imagine social media just totally banishing just, the gang, cancel culture and all. Oh, my God. Could you imagine? But, so that is some of my personal experience. I met the man, obviously, because I was working for XPW at the time, albeit doing very little stuff. Very nice guy. Can't say anything bad about him. I feel bad for his family. I have said my things about Nick Gage over the years because you know about some of his history of things that he did outside of wrestling. But he had an awesome 2019 and, just a horrible way to open up 2020. Just all the deaths in wrestling. We have more that we have to announce on Monday. Just really sad. So Justice Payne, 41 years old, rest in peace. And to all of his friends, family, fellow wrestlers, just that are really hurting tonight, my sincere thoughts and prayers are with you. And I know everybody listening are feeling the same. So, again, a lot of you out there probably never even seen him have a match. He's retired. Well, he was retired up until this point. And again, my memories of him was 02 to 04 because I think I was at his last CZW match at the time because right before XPW had Hostile Takeover, we went to CZW and I drove to Philly with Timmy Arson, God rest his soul. You knew him as the ECW Zombie. I got to wear my Blackheart shirt very soon with Zombie, Arson, Funker, Zombie, Arson, Funker, and Damage. That was the four. We were the four horsemen of the hotlines. Everybody thinks that the hotline at the time was Joey 924, Kevin from Sheepshead Bay, Black Moses, and Anthony the Funker. No, it was Brian Damage, Matt Zombie, Timmy Arson, and yours truly. We were killing it. And we drove all the way to Philly. It was myself, Matt Zombie, Timmy Arson, Brian Damage, and the guy Slash. While CZW was going on, we flied all the cars outside, and then we were inside the building, And I remember it clear as day, and some wrestlers that maybe listen to this might remember this as well. Timmy Arson walked to the back of the ECW arena to say hello to some of his friends. And John Zandig and others had found out that some guys from XPW were in the building flyering all the cars. And word started going around that if they realized that it was us, we were going to get thrown out of the building. So I remember Mad Zombie just taking about 500 XPW cards, flinging them up in the air inside the ECW arena during CZW's event. And we ran out of there and drove all the way back from Philly to Queens, New York. Ralph is asking, what happened to Timmy Arson? He passed away. I don't know if they ever revealed the cause of death, but Tim Calkins was good people, man. I was very, very good friends with him. I wrote his car insurance, you know, his girlfriend, you know, she remembers it clearly. I remember one time he had an accident, she did, and there was so much controversy. The man gave me credit for something. And I'm not saying this to brag or anything like that, but, you know, one thing about me, I tell stories when a lot of people are alive still to say, yeah, no, he's telling the truth. Usually when people die, that's when you have all these people say, oh, yeah, we were hanging out last week, and, oh, we were on the phone an hour ago. Blah, blah. But Timmy Arson, when he was the ECW Zombie, and this is common knowledge to a lot of people out there, he did not want to do the ECW Zombie on the indie circuit. He did not want to be known for a fucking zombie character. And he wanted to show off because he had the look. He was decent in the ring. I always wanted him to have a feud with Homicide that Frank Goodman just squashed and said, no, nobody's interested in that. I wanted Timmy Arson to bring, what was it, Short Sleeve? No, is Short Sleeve Samson, was that the black midget wrestler, or was it the other guy? But I think it was the other guy who was feuding with him at the time. But I wanted him to bring in that small midget wrestler and call him Mini Side and have Timmy Arson call out Homicide, I'm going to kick your ass right now, and then bring out the midget Homicide. They refused to do any of that. But I became really close with him. And one time we were working VPW wrestling in Long Island. And we had a really, in fact, if you go on my Patreon page, there is a photo from that night of Timmy Arson and me, and I'm squeezing his nipples, you know. But he's like, man, I don't want to do this zombie character. I don't want to be known as the zombie guy. And I said, look at the crowd. You got all family and kids here. You don't have to be this evil zombie. Be the friendly zombie, you know? Just you take pictures, you know, be stupid. The kids don't know nothing else. And I remember that night, that's why I was pitching on his nipples. That night, you had little kids trying to pull his hair, pull his chest, pull this, pull that. He made a killing with Polaroids and photos and stuff. And he stood as the ECW Zombie, and he did some interviews after, and he would always say, you know, I got to give my friend Don Tony the credit for, you know, convincing me to keep at this. But he has passed on as well, and that man died way too young, way too young. He had an awesome physique, was not great on the mic. You know, he really busted his ass. I mean, he would go to Gleason's, he would go to Johnny Rod's school, I believe, and he trained and tried so hard as well. So, you know, I'm sorry. I mean, everybody in the chat is loving this right now, but this is another reason why I wanted to do these videos. So you know, the one thing from last week that stuck to me more than any other comments that you all have said, but I got so many private messages and emails from you all out there. And most of all of you don't know each other personally. And what I kept reading in different words were, man, you know, you think you know somebody for so many years, and then you finally put a face. Now, yeah, there's been a picture online of me here and there, but to see video, and to see my eyes, and just to see an extension of my personality, because I say this all the time on social media. You know, people could write, you know, great things about themselves and tell you that they did this and did that and this happened to them. And when I say you never see video proof, you never see photo proof, you realize that they're just completely hiding themselves. And 9 times out of 10, what you read online is a fictitious life that they have created, because getting those likes on Twitter and Facebook, getting those hearts. It's like heroin to the veins. It's literally emotional heroin. And, I always say it too, man, if something good happens to me, I hit the jackpot 3 times at the freaking Mohegan Sun Casino. What is the big deal in 2019? Last year, that's when it happened. I just grabbed my phone, record a squirrel. A freaking squirrel is on my windowsill. Cute little squirrel. My phone is sitting right there. What does it take to just hit a little record? Oh, look at this, look at that, look at this. And then you realize the level of fake online. So when I kept reading last week on how so many of you out there are putting the live face behind the voice that you've heard all these years, and man, what I always envisioned you to be is something totally different. And it's all positive. And unfortunately, it's the same thing for those, on the flip side of it. So having these little sharing of stories, indie stuff, like I said, there is a ton of wrestlers out there that could verify everything that I say. I don't wait till everybody's dead and then say, oh, I did this, I did this, I did this. I don't like lying. Only for the simple reason that, number one, I'm not a good liar. And number two, I don't like getting caught. I remember when I was a kid, and I've said this many times in the past, my father used to say to me, Anthony, don't lie. Because when you lie, you put lie on top of lie on top of lie on top of lie, and sooner or later you get busted. And, I would lie once in a while. And eventually I would get caught in a lie. And it sucked. Didn't like lying in relationships. Me, I am really brutally honest. And to me, it's one of the greatest traits about me, and it's one of the worst traits about me. Because if my girl says, honey, do I look nice in this dress? And I say to her, honestly, not for nothing, honey. It looks like you glued that on. I mean, what are you wearing leather pants for? You're freaking 40, And she just wants to hear me say, oh, you look nice. I don't do that. So I appreciate everybody that's enjoying this. I know it might want to have gone a little bit longer, but just to share some personal stories wherever I can. The one thing I'll never do is I'll never lie to you. And that's one thing about more than anything. Somebody asked for the questions this week, what's the one thing that you value the most for doing this 23 years? And honestly, reputation, number one. If I tell you I'm going to do something, I will try to the best of my ability. If I fail, I fail. And I'd say that to every single one of you listening out there as well. It's better to try something and fail at it than not try at all. And there's a lot of things that I have not tried in the past that I regret to this day. It gets depressing. It's a little depressing that I'm getting older. Some of the things I wanted to do, I never took the opportunity to do. But, my reputation is more than anything to me. And, hey, look, if I could share some stories, number one, they'll always be authentic. And number two, there's usually people around that could just, back up what I'm saying. So, we'll move on a little bit, right? Now, as far as NWA Hard Times tonight, I watched it online. I have a subscription to Fight TV. I will admit that I wasn't paying 100% attention to it because I was preparing for this show, watching Smackdown, getting news together, also, in real time trying to get the information about what happened to Justice Payne. And, I was glancing at it, but I will tell you this, I stopped what I was doing to watch, Allison Kay versus Thunder Rosa. And when I said online, holy shit, some people thought, is that a negative? I know a lot of you out there are expecting me to say Thunder Rosa, the greater symbol, like 2 greater than 1. I'm not going to do the Thunder Rosa, Tessa Blanchard thing. I think it's unfair to both of them to start doing that, but I see it right away. I saw the comments of what Becky Lynch said this week about, changing the names and why does it have to be women stuff. Honestly, people that wanted to know my thoughts on that, it's semantics, man. Why are people getting so freaking offended because they say, oh, we're going to call, instead of the NXT Women's Championship, we're just going to call it the NXT Championship. So what? Seriously, I mean, why would you? I think just people are just programmed to be upset at almost anything out there. You see the cruise, and I talked about this last week. And, I'm seeing people just making fun of everybody going on their trip until they found out that some of their friends were going on there. You saw so many people online that were making fun of everybody going. And I'm not going to bring up examples because then I don't want anybody to say, oh, shots fired. He said this. You know what was said. But then as soon as those very same people knew that some of their friends were going, then all of a sudden, can't we just all get along? We should all have fun. Until next week when AEW is back on the air, and then it's okay, it's back to their bipolar, let's rip and make fun of everything and this and that. I saw also because of Rhea Ripley, in the ring for NXT. I mean, I must have, I see all of the women online, like hot chicks for Bernie or people trying to get noticed. I can't tell you how many times I went on social media and all I kept seeing was, hey, if it was bad for Dark Order, it's bad for... Is that what it is now? You justify crappy shit with other crappy shit? So ridiculous, man. People are programmed to just say negative shit without thinking. And what I see happening tonight, and this is unfair to Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa and Allison Kay, and even though I have also said this past week that I thought Allison Kay needs to take a step back about Tessa Blanchard because this almost feels like a Tama Tonga Enzo situation. This ain't leading to a WrestleMania weekend match in Florida. It's some blood sport promotion. Allison Kay has bitter hatred for Tessa Blanchard. Unfortunately, Sienna, you got to take your medicine, and you can't be on this vendetta and a mission hoping. It almost feels like she's hoping for other people to reveal that they have been discriminated with Tessa, this and that. You don't like Tessa. If Tessa's nasty, if she is an asshole, if she is a bitch, welcome to 1997. Welcome to 1996. Welcome to 1979. Welcome to all this. Sometimes you got to just keep quiet and just let it go. Oh, people are texting me that Tessa's trying to dig up dirt on me. Well, guess what? If Tessa digs up dirt on you, number one, if you have dirt, it's okay to dig up hers, but it's not okay to dig up yours. Number two, and I don't condone that, by the way. And number two, let Tessa Blanchard be outed for digging dirt on you. And then people say like, oh, what is it? Two wrongs make a right, Tessa? And let her take the heat for it. Johnny O, what's up, my friend? But so she's got this real vendetta, and she's got to lighten up a little bit because Allison Kay is talented. She and Thunder Rosa tore it up today. Arguably, maybe top 3 match of the year. I know we're still in January, but that's how good this match was today. And you could see, as far as women go, there were a lot of people out there that were happy that Tessa Blanchard won, not because it was Tessa Blanchard that won, but because a woman won a title that was solely held by men. So as far as a gender thing, that's a step forward. You could look at it closer and say, this is Impact Wrestling, and I've been saying this for about 6 months. Throwing shit on the wall and hoping something will stick. It is what it is. But that people love the progression of a woman winning that belt. They just didn't want it to be Tessa Blanchard now. So Thunder Rosa, even though this was not a men's title tonight, the fact that they tore it up the way they did, now everybody is going to get behind Thunder Rosa. Please get behind her because she is an extremely talented woman. Not because you dislike Tessa Blanchard. They're 2 different women, 2 different organizations, 2 different styles, 2 different champions. Like who you want to like. You don't have to pay attention to any other Fed out there. I laugh at these people, and I brought this up before. I laugh at these people that, especially podcasters, that will rip I got to tone down the language a little bit. Rip a promotion repeatedly, over. And then when you ask them, like, if you don't like it, why are you watching it? And you get the same answer all the time. Well, because I got to cover it. Because I do a show. I do a podcast. First of all, you do it as a hobby. Or you do it because you're lonely and you want to feel that you're important. Or for whatever, maybe you're doing it for money, whatever. But the thing is, I always take wrestling and I put dubstep. And I know some of you that have listened to audio shows only like, oh, here we go again. But no, I'm just going to say it quickly. Dubstep. We all love music, right? How many of you out there just can't stand dubstep? Now, I can't stand dubstep. I don't like the music. I totally understand why people like it. I respect that. But I can't stand it. To me, it's like nails on a chalkboard. It's like Dean Douglas with the chalkboard. Do you ever see me on Twitter ripping dubstep over and 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 over? But now imagine me saying, people saying to me, why do you keep ripping it? If you don't like it, why do you keep ripping it? Well, because I like music. Because I cover music. Why do I have to cover dubstep? If you don't fucking, you know why they do that? Because they know the promotions that they are ripping are the ones that all of you pay the most attention to. I put up an interview with Andre Corbeil did with Kevin Sullivan. Everybody ignored it. But if it's Chris Van Vliet interviewing an AEW or a WWE star, Anyway, Thunder Rosa and Allison Kay tore it up today. Go out of your way to watch that match. Excellent. Congratulations to Ricky Starks, who is the new champion. They had the tournament. I'm not going to get into full-blown results today. I'm going to do that on Wednesday Night Dynamite. And the pay-per-view just ended, and I want to go back and watch every minute of it. But he won the tournament. I was a little disappointed. I feel like it was rushed. Ricky Starks, from what I saw in his match, earlier, it just him with Tim Storm just did not feel like it was cutting it all that much. Not Tim Storm. What am I saying? He had it with Trevor Murdoch. He just didn't. I just felt like something was missing. Even with the Tim Storm, I didn't see all that much with Tim Storm, but I honestly wanted Tim Storm or Danny Moff to win it. If they were going to do a swerve and have somebody win that belt and bring it to Ring of Honor, I wanted to see Danny Moff do that. If not, Tim Storm being that champion, it's solid. I know they want to give the rub to Ricky Starks. I'm in no way, shape, or form am I saying Ricky Starks does not deserve that title. But I felt, you could have taken your time a little bit more with Ricky Starks, but he did win it. Eli Drake and James Storm won the tag titles. That was one of my predictions. I predicted Thunder Rosa was going to get the belt as well. Nick Aldis, was not going to be losing the heavyweight title. They're not going to give that much of a rub to Ring of Honor. And look, maybe it's different down the line, but Ring of Honor needs NWA a lot more than NWA needs Ring of Honor. I said late last year, and I repeated a couple of weeks ago, 2020 is going to be the year of commingling. You're going to see promotions commingling with each other, probably more than you have in many, many years. We're already starting to see that. Even with TNA doing their one night only thing, you see wrestlers who are known right now for other promotions. They go in there, albeit for one night only. Dustin is saying, what are my thoughts on Impact selling out Bound for Glory? They had 5,000 people in attendance and Hard to Kill was packed. It's, Dustin, with all due respect, very dragged out question. If a building is sold out, that's good, whether it's 500 or 5,000. Selling out a building is great. I think the one thing that Impact Wrestling does right is they book small buildings, because you never want to turn away a fan. But if I know that I'm going to draw 500 to 600 fans or even 2,000 fans, it looks a hell of a lot better for me to draw 2,000 fans in a 2,500 seat building than to draw 2,000 fans in an 8,000 seat building. I mean, you remember those baseball shows that Impact Wrestling was doing before, it went over to Anthem. And that was just piss poor pathetic. I had that infamous photo where I literally wrote a number under every person who was there live in attendance, and it was like 111. And the place sat 9,000 people or 8,000 people. You know, that just a visual. That's why it bothered me even last year when AEW started and people were like, oh, I don't like the intimate surroundings for NXT. It looks Bush League. It's such a small building. And again, programmed to just crap on anything for any reason because there'll always be 12 people out there that go, yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yo, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, boy. Yeah. Stupid. But go out of your way to see NWA Hard Times. It's getting thumbs up from everybody out there. But for me, from what I've seen so far, I mean, you know, Aaron Stevens and Scott Steiner, you know, it was what it was. I mean, I don't think anybody out there thought that there was going to be any title change there. I still think down the line, Aaron Stevens and the question mark are going to have a feud. Now, the next pay-per-view is in April, and they're going to be having the return of the Crockett Cup, which will be fun, without a doubt. And I like the momentum that NWA is on, because a pay-per-view like tonight, yeah, you don't have your household names other than a couple, but everybody busts their ass. And it's funny to see these same goofs that will make fun of NXT's intimate surroundings, but the NWA saw their building. I mean, they're literally in the back going like this. Oh my God, this is unbelievable. It's so energetic. You know, it's just, if you really pay attention closely to people who complain online, they talk on both sides of their mouth in everything. So it's not just wrestling. Johnny Z, what's going on? So, but yeah, go out of your way to watch it. Now, Smackdown tonight was not a bad show. You know, originally we thought Jimmy Uso had gotten injured until later on. I tell you, man, the number of matches, I wasn't feeling it that much with Smackdown tonight. The first match was almost 30 minutes long. And to me, the way I feel about Roman Reigns versus Baron Corbin after tonight is the same way I felt 3 months ago with this. You could feed him dog food. You could feed him battery acid. You could fucking feed him like the seagulls. If you put an Alka-Seltzer in a seagull's mouth, you know, don't ever do it. Don't look it up either. It's terrible. But I don't care what you do to Baron Corbin. You know, I'm just not interested. I'm not into this feud. I need it to end already. And you could put Bobby Roode, you could put Dolph Ziggler, you could put the Usos, you could put anybody out there. Jesus Christ, you could put AEW in this storyline. I'm not feeling it. You know, Baron Corbin, you know, coming out with being the king of the ring and all this stuff. I will never compare 80s or 90s to today because totally different eras and you can't do it. It's unfair to anybody. But I just don't see. I don't see how this guy is money in any way. I mean, you know what it feels like? It feels like, you know, I said this a long time ago. I thought SmackDown was going to be the A show. But I also felt it was going to be try to be more kid-friendly because, A, they're on regular Fox TV, and B, just they're going to have safer characters. Yeah, The Fiend is a monster and everything, but you also got him, ooh, fax machine. You know, it's not as evil as it comes across. By the way, if you're a fan of Bray Wyatt, check out on social media what he did to a young fan this week that was assaulted. Wonderful, wonderful gesture that he did. Wonderful. But it's not even go-away heat, Matthew. You know, it was funny because, you know, look, I understand why Sam Roberts, you know, says what he says. He knows where his bread is being buttered. But he did that interview with Baron Corbin, and Baron Corbin is saying there's no such thing as go-away heat. And you have Sam Roberts going along with it. I really don't want to do things like this on his show, but if Baron Corbin is seeing this right now, which I know he's not, he's got me blocked on social media, even though I said that son of a bitch, even though I don't like him, that son of a bitch has improved his talent tremendously over the last 2 years. But Baron Corbin, I swear on my mother, who is not well right now, when your matches are on TV, this is what I do. I'll go take a leak. I'll go get something to drink. I'll prepare for the show. I have no interest in watching this stuff. Go away heat means that when you're on TV, we all decide we're going to go and do something else while you're on. He's a wrestler. And of course, he's not going to sit there and say, yeah, I know what go away heat is. And unfortunately, I experienced that and I'm doing everything I can to get better. Baron Corbin tries to come off as an asshole. And he does a pretty good job of it. I hear good things about Baron Corbin outside of pro wrestling. Yeah, he's got his moments where he's a little bit thin-skinned. There's a lot of thin skin on social media, but unfortunately, I'm just not into the storyline. When I get into my Royal Rumble pay-per-view predictions in a couple of moments, I think my predictions will kind of reflect that. When I do predictions, I run into the problem always of giving predictions of what I want to see happen instead of what I should expect to happen. And there's a big difference there. Yeah, Benjamin, I don't think Baron Corbin is on my Patreon. And by the way, for our patrons out there, Mish is getting back into the swing of things. I think he was on Wrestling Soup yesterday. Mish and I are going to be doing a Sunday afternoon breakfast soup on Patreon. We're going to hype up the Royal Rumble. We'll talk about NWA Hard Times a little bit more. We'll answer your questions from last week, and, we'll have some fun for sure. So that'll be Sunday afternoon. I already posted the announcement on Patreon. And if anybody out there wants to go check out our Patrons, patreon.com/DonTony. And there's some great content on there. So, but other than that, Nakamura, I'm a fan of Nakamura. I know a lot of you are out there as well. Does it feel like his title reign, is it any better than Kofi's? I know Kofi's was historic and it was emotionally great for all of us. We were all ecstatic that Kofi won. But if you actually pay attention to Kofi's title defenses and the feuds and the matches, if I asked all of you out there right now, spur of the moment, what was your favorite Kofi Kingston match after he won the title? After he won the title. Don't give me the WrestleMania match. After that. The only moment that comes to mind for me is when he hopped over I think it was Dolph Ziggler to jump out of the cage. That's the only moment that I really recall that I enjoyed tremendously. Kofi is a talented guy, and he is definitely a future Hall of Famer. WWE, it's their fault, WWE's fault for spending so much attention on the historical moment of it and putting it on a good guy that, you don't like to say you deserve. That's very loosely used these days. Everybody, you deserve it. You deserve it. And Botch Club, like I said, next Wednesday I will get into the Jimmy Miranda Award without a doubt. I want to have all the info in front of me, and yeah, I will definitely plug it. So, but WWE just, once they did it, they didn't know what to do with it. And with Nakamura, it's like, what are they doing with it? I don't know. There's a lot of things with WWE. If you actually dissect it, it feels like they're just treading water. They're treading water. They're waiting until a certain point for the road to WrestleMania, and then boom, full steam ahead. It's like if we could just you could almost picture it in their creative meetings. If we could just get past these 3 weeks or 4 weeks. And speaking of, the Royal Rumble, as far as predictions go, and I guess I could pull them up now and we could get into that very quickly, and then I'll get into questions too. But as far as the Royal Rumble goes, the men's Royal Rumble match, I see what everybody's writing online, and I talked about it on Wednesday, why I don't want Keith Lee to win the Royal Rumble right now. There are too many people above him on the food chain, and I think a year from now is where Keith Lee should really be put to the moon. And Keith Lee is my favorite NXT wrestler. I've been saying that since the middle of last year. Keith Lee was my favorite NXT male. Rhea Ripley was my favorite NXT female. And in AEW, my favorite guy was Ortiz. I don't know. I really enjoy his work, even though I'm starting to change a little bit. If they do what we were talking Wednesday with Nakazawa, I'm telling you, as nuts as it would sound, Michael Nakazawa would probably be some of your favorites. Yeah, Moxley, of course, and Jericho, but I think you put them aside, that guy has the opportunity to be a massive, massive entertaining heel in AEW. Maybe they just don't want to do that. You know, a lot of people need to understand Michael Nakazawa works in the office. He's like, what, the executive vice president or something with AEW? He's got a big position there. Maybe he just feels like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. No. We let out the shine. You know. And for anybody out there who's going to be like, oh, here he goes with that impersonation, watch the Nakamura. Watch the Nakazawa video that I posted on Wednesday during Wednesday Night Dynamite, and you will understand why I crack the jokes like I do towards him. He did the very thing towards us Americans. It's all part of the heel character that he was. Beautiful, beautiful. You don't get many people like that. MJF, a lot of people, you saw it this week, oh, he's the best heel right now. He's the greatest heel. I don't classify him as a heel. I classify him as an asshole. MJF is being the ultimate asshole to get under guys' skin. You see on the cruise, he's taking pictures with guys and he's saying horrible stuff. He makes fun of them. He's got dirty looks. You got an attractive girl. Can I have your autograph? And he'll let them sit on his lap. He'll smile. He'll pose. He's playing the asshole that you're concerned if you go to a club. Oh, I haven't been to a club in a long time. You know, I'm going to take my girlfriend to a club. Let her hear some music. We'll have maybe some hot chocolate. Or maybe we can have a virgin pina colada. And we can just go out a night on the town. Yay! And then you go in there and sitting right across from you is MJF just staring down your girlfriend. And you can't do a damn thing about it. That's what MJF is. MJF is a prick, and I freaking love it. He's not my favorite yet in AEW, but I get it, and I enjoy his stuff tremendously. I'm surprised that AEW lets him go as far as he does. Although, and I've been saying it, not because I want to see it, I just don't like the fact that it feels very intentional, very, explicit, very, very specific, that he is not making fun of Arn Anderson's weight. Arn Anderson has the right to enjoy the rest of his life, and he gains a few pounds. He doesn't work out like he used to, enjoys a couple of brewskis, gains some weight. He's not grotesquely overweight, but, I mean, come on. You got Arn Anderson in the corner of Cody. MJF should be ripping this guy like Andrew Dice Clay, making fun of a guy sitting front row at one of his concerts. I mean, it feels like Arn Anderson, off limits, virtually nothing, off limits, don't like it. Anyway, yeah, somebody asked me earlier, would I do my Vince McMahon impersonation? See, I can't think about it beforehand. Because if I do it beforehand, I won't get it right. Even a Kermit the Frog, if I go, Kermit the Frog here, like if I think about it beforehand, it's not going to be good at all. But if I just out of nowhere go, shut up, shake it up, like it's not going to sound good right now. I have to just spur the moment, do it, and then whatever. Even the Braun Strowman impersonations and others, I can't think about it beforehand. But anyway, let's get back to the Royal Rumble predictions. 30-man. Over the top. I would like for Drew McIntyre to win. I will stick with Drew McIntyre to win. And I'll tell you the reason why. Something that a lot of you out there keep forgetting, and I noticed a lot of people not bringing it up, and that is the Elimination Chamber. And sometimes a number one contender is determined at Elimination Chamber. I don't see Brock Lesnar defending the championship at Elimination Chamber. I don't see Bray Wyatt maybe defending the championship at Elimination Chamber. My point is that one person is going to win the Royal Rumble this weekend and not two. So somebody is going to be challenging a heavyweight champion down the line. and it's probably going to happen in Elimination Chamber. So who was more inclined to win an Elimination Chamber match to get a title shot? You think SmackDown, or do you think Raw? In my opinion, if Drew McIntyre wins the Royal Rumble, the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, the match doesn't have to do with a number one contender. My only problem with that is if you have a Raw Elimination Chamber match, what is the reason for having it? Will Brock Lesnar be in his... Has he ever been in an Elimination Chamber match? I don't really recall him ever. So maybe because they want to do first time or, all the time, maybe, they announce, Brock Lesnar, he entered number 1 in the Royal Rumble. So you could see a couple weeks on Brock Lesnar enters himself in the Elimination Chamber, and he'll be the last one to be coming out, and he won't have to do all that much. And maybe he does retain the title at Elimination Chamber. So I think, I love you and everybody else out there that thinks that Brock Lesnar is going to win this Royal Rumble match. Just explain to me your reasoning that Brock Lesnar is going to be in a match for 80 minutes, 90 minutes, 70 minutes. I don't want this that he gets knocked out of the ring and he sleeps like Roman Reigns did for 20 minutes in the past. I don't want to see that happen. And I'm a little bit pissed, man, because I had queued up for tonight. Maybe I can do it while we're talking over here, but my favorite moment of all time of the Royal Rumble, because somebody asked in the show, like, what's your favorite Royal Rumble? Actually, I'll get into it now because I actually just queued it up. What is your favorite Royal Rumble moment of all time and your worst favorite Royal Rumble moment of all time? My favorite Royal Rumble moment, as far as matches go, was when Ric Flair won the WWF Heavyweight Championship. Just entering and just Bobby Heenan. And then, look, when Ric Flair won it, what did Bobby Heenan do? Yes, 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 yes. With a tear from my eye. That was my favorite moment. My least favorite moment is actually my second favorite moment. Stone Mexican guy. Thank you, my friend. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. I can't complain. Having a ball, man. And your support really is helping me, build on this. And not only that, giving me the incentive to just try to do as much as I possibly can. But my least favorite moment was this moment that I'm going to share right now. And I don't have to worry about copyrights because we're not actually playing a WWE, clip. But not only is it my worst favorite moment of all time, the reason why I say it's my second favorite moment is not because of what happened in the match, but the reaction in this video. Oh, please let this pop up. Oh, yeah, it'll pop up. Here we go.
Samoa Joe! What the fuck? What the fuck?
Actually, you know what? Let's give it its due. Let's set this up a little bit. This was what, 2017? And we didn't know who number 30 was going to be. And everybody at that time was fantasizing who was going to be number 30 in the Royal. Was this 2017 or yeah, it was 2017. And this was a montage of fans' reactions across the globe when we found out who was number 30 in the Royal Rumble. So I want to start it again because we need to set it up and give it its due.
3, 2, 1, Samoa Joe! What the fuck? What the fuck? Oh, God damn it!
Finn Balor.
Balor. Oh, you fucking serious? Fuck off!
I want Finn Balor. Oh, this chaos is so.
This guy's funny.
Finn Balor and Balor or Craig. And Undertaker WrestleMania.
This guy knows he's on camera. Watch. Yeah, okay. This guy's funny. That's some people's reactions when they see me post announcements about YouTube.
Who's number 30? 3, 2, 1.
This one's good.
Are you serious?
No. No, 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 no.
Are you fucking kidding me? God. I can't believe they just did this again. I can't believe they just did it again.
2, 1.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Fuck.
This woman.
What?
Oh my God!
Joe. If it's Joe, I'm marking out.
Joe.
What?
No way, Joe.
What?
That's priceless, man. That's awesome. Sad thing is, you may get a repeat of that this weekend. I know I have debated some of my co-hosts on different shows over the last year. I felt Roman Reigns' seat was kept warm, and they were never diverting from the program. Roman Reigns, obviously, you could understand why you would want to put him in a main event. I still believe it's Roman Reigns versus The Fiend at WrestleMania, but I could see Roman Reigns winning the Elimination Chamber match to getting the shot for The Fiend. So I'm going to go with Drew McIntyre. I will tell you that I would love to see Otis win this thing. I mean, you just feel like, I wouldn't put it in the same level of Kofi because Kofi was history, but I could just picture like this enormous amount of love going Otis's way. Like just great things are happening. Maybe he gets screwed at WrestleMania, but I would have zero problem if Otis won the Royal Rumble. But I'm going to go with Drew McIntyre because I think Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania, I don't think anybody would have an issue with it. I also do not believe that Brock Lesnar's match will be the last match at Mania. So I'm going to go with Drew McIntyre. And again, God bless all of you out there that think that Brock Lesnar is going to enter at number one and stay the whole thing. In fact, I'll give a little insight. The tiebreaker for the predictions contest on Patreon this week for the pay-per-view, it's going to be how long did you expect Brock Lesnar to be in that Royal Rumble match? I think he's number one, so he could be eliminated early and get out of there early. The big question is who is going to eliminate Brock Lesnar? We'll see what happens. Just because Drew McIntyre wins the thing doesn't mean that he has to be the one to eliminate Brock Lesnar. So now we go to the women's Royal Rumble match. And I'm with all of you out there. The women right now, a lot of people have issues with Charlotte. They have this storyline that management doesn't want Becky to do this, do that, do this. You almost feel like there's a big void in the women's division. And it almost feels like they're just trying to buy time. Kairi Sane and Asuka are the women's tag team champions. And, yes, Kairi Sane with the injury on the last pay-per-view, they had to play it careful with her. But even before the injury, it just feels like they don't give enough love to Kairi Sane. And Asuka, no matter what happens at the Royal Rumble, she is still your tag team champion. And the reason why I say that is that since she's going to be a champion going into this match and leaving this match, there is no reason why Asuka needs to win this women's championship. I think Becky retains the women. I think Becky Lynch retains her title, and Asuka is still a champion when we leave this. I don't think Killer Kross debuts at the Royal Rumble, Duke. Look, Killer Kross is no secret. was a fan of DTKC many years before he ever broke into the sport. And I hope to see him in the very near future at an upcoming wrestling event in the Northeast. He's a friend of the show, even though we've never like hung out with him or really talked to him privately, but he's a friend of the show. He's a fan of the show. And I don't like keep saying that because I don't want to, he likes the show in the past. Okay, move on. And I say this with the utmost respect. And I think deep down inside, I think Killer Cross would probably agree, but would never say it publicly. He'd be nuts to say it publicly. He'd be an idiot if he said it publicly. But here's the thing. As much as we support Killer Cross and as much as we believe that 2020 is going to be an insane year for this guy, and I think 2 years from now, he will be a major player on national TV. I think the problem is that people are overestimating. Yes, he was Impact Wrestling. I'm not taking that away. But I think if he debuts at the Royal Rumble, do not expect the AJ Styles moment. There's not enough casual WWE Universe fans, especially young fans out there. Impact Wrestling, like I said, their audience is very, very small, much smaller than you think. If they had a big audience, when they were on Pursuit or Access TV, they would be telling you. They do not reveal their viewership numbers. They're not part of Nielsen. Trust me, if I know that I have a show on that network and I'm fucking killing it in numbers, I'm going to tell you. YouTube, it's a bad comparison, but YouTube. I was hoping to get 5,000 people to sign up by the end of March. We're almost at 6,000. And my page has only been active for 10 days. And I got to give props. I don't want to name any shows and put them on the spot. But some shows, I'll say Jason because everybody knows Jason. But yesterday, there were 3. There could be more that I'm not aware of, but there was at least 3 big-time wrestling podcasts that were doing shows yesterday that gave me, best wishes, good luck, and told their listeners, their viewers, to support my show. I woke up this morning and had almost 1,200 new people sign up overnight. 1,200 almost. Last night I was like, hey, we're at 4,700. You think there's any chance, we get 5,000 by March? We're almost at 6,000 24 hours later. But the reason why I say that is if you got good numbers, you want to share those good numbers with people. You want people to see, oh my God, they don't reveal the numbers because it is very, very small. It's smaller than you think. So Killer Cross, although in a major promotion, WWE Universe would not know him as much as you think. He would come out to a lot of silence. That's not a knock on Killer Cross. That's just the fact. He's not a household name yet. If he were to sign with WWE and go to NXT, different. But as far as thinking a surprise entry to the Royal Rumble, I would be shocked if that happens. Shocked. And I am a big fan of his work. Guy trusted me enough to send me all the legal paperwork that he was going up against Impact Wrestling. He sent it to me 6 or 7 months ago. Every document of everything that Impact Wrestling owed him, he sent it to me in confidence because, 1, he knows I wouldn't leak it to anybody else, and number 2, because he knows I understand that side of business. And trust me, I support him completely. But him being in the Royal Rumble, I don't see that at all. But Brock Lesnar, he ain't going to be in the Royal Rumble all that long. So anyway, getting back to the women. The women. I'm with all of you out there. I think Ronda Rousey needs to return. Unless her hand is still messed up, unless she is pregnant right now, which I have not heard anything about that, it almost feels like they might want Ronda Rousey versus Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. If you follow the storyline closely with Charlotte, that she's not getting much right now in this and that, and you see Becky Lynch, that management is trying to protect her and not giving her competition, you almost feel like those storylines could possibly commingle and intertwine, and maybe even the possibility of Charlotte, Becky, Ronda 2 at Mania, which I don't know if people would like. But I'll say this, and I said this when Goldberg fought Dolph Ziggler in Saudi Arabia. Not Saudi Arabia, when Goldberg fought Undertaker in Saudi Arabia. I felt that Goldberg needed a return match and just kill whoever his opponent was to right the wrong of what happened in Saudi Arabia. The man got knocked for a loop. The man, when he came back, you saw that 24 documentary, and he feuded with Kevin Owens and did what he did and then had the Brock Lesnar stuff. Guy was fucking phenomenal. It was a very bitter pill to swallow to see him and Undertaker have what they had at Saudi Arabia. So when he came back and destroyed Dolph Ziggler, for all of us that are Dolph Ziggler fans, sure, we didn't like Dolph Ziggler getting crushed like that. But Dolph Ziggler did not, his career was not hurt because of it. They righted the wrong that happened. They removed the bitter taste in a lot of people's mouths about Goldberg. Now, there's some of you out there that can't stand Goldberg, that are totally against what happened. Me, I'm the opposite. I was very, very happy to see him come back and right that wrong. I wonder if WWE thinks Becky, Charlotte, Ronda 2 will right the wrong of the finish of last year's pay-per-view. I don't know. But I feel Becky Lynch right now, whose opponent going to be at Mania? My original instinct was, be cool to see Shayna Baszler come to the main roster. She's not the women's champion anymore in NXT. Rhea Ripley is. So it would be cool to see Shayna Baszler maybe show up and maybe she gets into a feud with Becky Lynch. That would be my pick. If Ronda Rousey surprises everybody and is in the Royal Rumble match, Ronda Rousey's my pick. But if Ronda Rousey does not enter the Royal Rumble, then I go with Shayna Baszler. And I'm not giving you two picks. I'm not like the New York Times that gives you two presidential candidate picks. We don't know if Ronda Rousey's in the Royal Rumble. So I want to pick someone that I know is in the Rumble, which would be Shayna Baszler. But if Ronda Rousey appears, I have no problem with her winning it. And she has a rematch, whether it's one-on-one with Becky Lynch or a three-way with Charlotte. I was one of the very few people last year that actually wanted to see the three-way. I said it way before a lot of others, and I gave the reasons why. Ronda Rousey, as great as she developed in the ring, if she had any moments, any brain farts, any injuries, anything at all, Charlotte and Becky Lynch could tear it up. Look at the summer of 2019. They tore it up, or 2018. So we'll see what happens. So if Ronda's in the match, I go with Ronda. If she's not in the match, I go with Shayna Baszler. Bray Wyatt, without a doubt, retains the title over Daniel Bryan. I do not see Daniel Bryan getting this title. If he were to win this title, it will be a very short reign, but I do not see Daniel Bryan getting the belt this Sunday. Roman Reigns has to win this match with King Corbin. There's been too many matches where we expected Roman Reigns to win and he lost. This has got to be it. They should have announced that after this match, that no more. They cannot face each other anymore, period. I mean, they're not going to do that because 3 months from now they'll have a match on Smackdown, and they'll have a match on Smackdown, and they'll have a match at a house show. So they're not going to do that. But Roman Reigns needs to end this crap, beat King Corbin, Falls Count Anywhere this weekend, move on. Sheamus, I think, will destroy Shorty G. If Shorty G was to win this match, it would be because Sheamus maybe, just gets disqualified. But there ain't no way Sheamus is going to lose his return match unless it's DQ. Andrade versus Humberto Carrillo for the WWE United States Championship. I am a fan of Humberto. I find it hilarious. And, I take notice of these things. I find it hilarious of people that made fun of this guy repeatedly, made fun of his robe, made fun of his debut, make fun of his hair, even though I think he needs to change his hair, but just make fun of him and say this guy, he doesn't have it. I don't even see him in AEW, but yet these people follow him on social media. You know, it's just like, it's weird, man. Like, you see people out there, they're more concerned with how many followers they have than actually, like, you know, how could you make fun of someone, but then you follow them? I don't get that. And as much as I am a fan of Humberto, I think it's too soon. I think Humberto needs to be a heel. Those cheekbones are heel cheekbones. That guy needs to be a heel. When he turns heel, he will take it to the next level. I don't know if they want to take the belt off Andrade this quick. I don't think there's any chance Humberto wins that title this weekend. I still would love to see maybe Zelina Vega down the line turn on Andrade, or the reverse, and Zelina Vega joins up with Humberto. I'm not saying it's a Sherry Martel, Shawn Michaels type of deal, but I think Humberto has to be a heel down the line. That leaves us Bayley defending the SmackDown Women's Championship against Lacey Evans. There's a lot of people out there that think Lacey Evans, with this storyline, is going to win this title. Mish and I, more than anybody in our inner circle, have supported Lacey Evans forever. Sure, she's had a lot of caca moments on TV. This storyline is not the best storyline out there. But I've been saying for about 5 months now that I thought Bayley versus Sasha Banks would take place at Mania. I think it would be interesting to see Bayley go into that match as the heel and Sasha Banks as the babyface. And I don't know if they're still going to do that. I don't know if Bayley will be the champion still. But Bayley, early on, when I noticed the promos always talking about I think I mentioned this last week. I. Even when Sasha, what's up, Retro Brothers? Even though Sasha would be standing right by her side, she'd be I. So I'd like to see Bayley defend the SmackDown Women's Championship against Sasha at Mania, and Bayley remain a heel. So although I am a fan of Lacey Evans, and I'm happy that we're getting to see a little bit more of her military side, they let her be a little bit more of herself on social media, I think Bayley retains the belt. So those are my predictions. We'll see what happens this weekend. Chris L., one of our members of the Patreon posse, do I see any 24/7 title shenanigans during the Royal Rumble? Yeah, absolutely. Why? They should. It's the Royal Rumble. It's one of the big pay-per-views of the year. You know, have a little bit of comedy here and there. I don't know if it's going to happen during the match, but yeah, I think we'll see some shenanigans without a doubt. Ed Vary, another member of our Patreon posse. Am I a fan of Charlotte and Andrade as a couple? Could I see them in the near future having a storyline involving the two? I wouldn't mind seeing them as a tag team in a mixed match challenge. Why not? I don't think their relationship would be made public on television right now for the simple reason that Zelina Vega is still in his corner. And yes, there's nothing in the storyline that gives the aura that Zelina Vega and Andrade are a couple on TV. But I don't think they would incorporate Charlotte in that way. Am I a fan of them as a couple? If they care about each other and they love each other, of course. Why not? You know, two people care about each other. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I'm happy for them. You know, they just got engaged as well. Even though I still say, and I have to say this because I'm selfish, I think my engagement ring still blows away any other recent engagement rings that we have seen online. But I'm happy for the two. I think everybody out there should be happy for them as well. Marcial is asking me, please do not call your fans that. It is extremely cringeworthy. Oh, what, the Patreon posse? It's just lighthearted stuff. It's just, you know, what am I going to call them? The elite? Everybody calls everybody now the elite. The elite. Don't take the show too seriously. We're all friends here. We're all having fun. Jim Con, 1479. In my daily life, do I hear more people talking about wrestling? Do I see more wrestling shirts being worn by people on the street? No, I do not see people on the street wearing wrestling shirts. It was funny about 3 months ago, I was going to put it online. I don't remember why I didn't do it, but I was at a traffic light in Howard Beach, and I saw like a 75-year-old man walking down the street wearing an NWO shirt. Then I saw like a 60-year-old man walking down the street wearing an Austin 316 shirt. And they did not look like wrestling fans, even though you're probably saying to me right now, what does a wrestling fan look like? It looked like they were just wearing it because they needed to wear a shirt. It just, I don't know, there was just something about them. But I will say that when I went to my local drugstore 2 months ago, I heard people behind the counter talking about AEW. In fact, I don't want to blow up his spot, but there is a podcaster online that is, he has a pretty big following, and I know some of you listen to him. He actually works in my father's store. And a lot of times I would go in there to buy things, and he's talking wrestling, and he usually doesn't blow up my spot. So some of the people he talks wrestling to, because sometimes there'll be a customer buying like a hero, and they'll be like, oh, did you see AEW last night? So I actually have heard some fans talking AEW. But as far as wrestling shirts go, very, very rare that I see anybody wearing wrestling shirts. But you got to keep in mind as well, we're in a wintertime right now. So even if some people are wearing wrestling shirts, they have jackets over it. So we'll see. And keep in mind, AEW debuted in late 2019. Sure, it was not bitterly cold, but, we were around jacket weather here in the Northeast. So this year, when it gets warm out, I'm going to be curious to see if I see AEW shirts floating around, without a doubt. Alan Rovers, what is my... Okay, shout out to you. He's the one earlier with the least and most favorite Royal Rumble moment. So you can credit him for me putting up that video clip. Joe Mara, thank you for the kind words. Any opinions on the Oscar-nominated movies, good or bad? And he can't wait for Mish and I to do watch-alongs with movies and wrestling. Yeah, we're definitely going to do watch-alongs. We're going to do them here. We're going to do them on Patreon. We just got to be very, very careful. Wait, Shantez, I don't call my followers jabronis. I should call them the Don Tony jabronis. Well, I was going to, like I said, tonight is, the mailbag, from the scumbags, scumbag reading the mailbag. But, Edwin G goes back to my hotline days. My God. Late 90s. Yeah. And you know what? I can't get it now, but I will show everybody finally the Terry Funk stuff. And by the way, if anybody that's a longtime listener, you know already that my grandmother, God rest her soul, she died in 1991. She is the one that got me into wrestling. She was the biggest Hulk Hogan fan alive. When she died, as ridiculous as this may sound to some of you, especially now after some of the things Hogan has done over the years, when my grandmother died in 1991, she was buried with a Hulk Hogan figure in her casket. She got to understand something. She was one of those fans that went to wrestling in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. She used to take me to Ridgewood Grove Arena. My uncle worked for the Ridgewood Grove Arena and did some work for WWF, so we would always sit front row. I always told the infamous story when I broke my arm. Bob Backlund had signed my cast, and then we all went out to eat after a Ridgewood Grove Arena event, and I'm sitting at a dinner table as a little kid, surrounded by wrestlers, and everybody's eating like monsters. It was just surreal. But my grandmother got me into wrestling, and I credit my grandmother for the reason I'm sitting here right now. And I always said that my grandmother, long time ago in the 80s, went on a cruise to the Bahamas, and they had this Hulk Hogan cutout that you could pay money and take a picture next to. And my mother found this photo. Now, you got to keep in mind that when I lived in Middle Village, Queens, I always taught, when you hear people say, oh, you live in your mother's basement. When I was a kid, I lived in my parents' basement. It made me feel like I had my own apartment. So I moved into the basement, but unfortunately it would be flooded a lot. A lot of photos got destroyed, tons of photos. So when I put photos online of yours truly back in the day, those are very rare because tons of photos got destroyed at that time. And my mom, about a year or two ago, found the photo of my grandmother from 1985 when she was on this cruise ship, and she took the picture with Hulk Hogan. So somebody brought up my grandmother. Actually, I'll bring it up right now, and I'll get back to Joe with the Oscar. Golden Boy says, I previously said my grandmother was a massive Hulk Hogan fan. How do I think she would have reacted of him turning heel in 96? She would have been heartbroken. She would have hated it. She despised Roddy Piper in 85, in 84. My grandmother would come over my house, and the first wrestling figure I ever had was a Roddy Piper figure. It was the one where he's like this, and he's got the white shirt with Hot Rod, and that's the first figure I ever owned. And I can't tell you how many times my grandmother would be sitting at the dining room table, and she'd be talking to my mother about whatever, and I would put the figure like right behind her or right next to her coffee, and she'd be like, get that piece of shit out of here. She believed wrestling was real to the day she died. She did not believe it was sports and, predetermined. She was the greatest Hulk Hogan fan alive, and, it just blew me away. And this is the thing that bothered me about Hulk Hogan recently, and Hulk Hogan cared less about me, but I'll share this. When Hulk Hogan had that racist tirade get revealed, and he was asking everybody for forgiveness, I got blocked from Hogan on social media many, many years ago because I spoke out about, just a lot of shit that he said, from the John Graziano stuff to some of the other things. And, I got blocked, whatever. He cared less about me. But me, like a moron. And it's funny when people say to me, oh, you support Hogan. And I believe that everybody, I live in a country where you're innocent until proven guilty. And yes, he's guilty, without a doubt. But I also believe in, people growing and improving themselves and learning from their mistakes, redemption. And, I believe the guy, maybe originally he was sorry that he got caught, but I think over the years, the man has grown to realize how terrible he said what he said. That's just an opinion. I'm the outside looking in. I'm being straight up my opinion. I don't think that's outrageous. I'm not going to crucify him till the day I die. I mean, maybe somebody of color has that right. I would never, go against somebody who feels otherwise. There's no time, frame that somebody, okay, after all these years, but the thing is that me, like a moron, when Hogan was talking about redemption a couple of years ago and how he was asking for everybody's forgiveness, me, like a moron, I wrote a very long letter to him. And I gave it to somebody who I know knows certain individuals that could get it to him. And when the person said to me that he definitely got it, all I basically said is how much of a Hulkamaniac I was growing up as a kid in the 80s. I told him about my grandmother, told him that my grandmother, I loved her probably even more than my parents back in the day. And the thing is that my grandmother adored him to the day that she died. And, I always thought of my grandmother and how she would have felt if she was alive when all this stuff happened. And I told him that it's not for me to forgive because I'm not black. I still am offended at what he said, but I also apologized for a lot of the over-the-top shit that I said. And, I said, I'll never speak to him and he'll never give me the time of day, but, I hope in his heart he really means that, he's asking for forgiveness, but he also wants to forgive others. Ignored it. Never got unblocked, never nothing. So I realized that, he was basically just looking to take. But, the one thing that I always told all of you out there is that I would show you the picture that I'm talking about. Because like I said, there's a lot of Forrest Gumps on social media that will tell you all these things. Take notice. When they see other people having really, really good things happen to them, it's weird how they always will post announcements right around that time, or the opposite, the woe is me stuff. But whenever I tell stories, I always try to back up what I say. And right now, let me pull the camera up. I don't know if you could see this, but that is the actual picture from 1985 of my grandmother on the cruise ship. with that cardboard cutout. And if you just look at her face and look how, like, she's smiling, and I even think that she really thinks that she's holding his stomach and she's from ear to ear. She was the most amazing woman in my life at that time. And that is the picture that I was talking about. So, yeah, that is her with Hulk Hogan. And the guy just totally ignored it, you know. Whatever. You know, see, that's the thing, like I say. You know, will I ever have a blue check mark next to my name? I have no idea. I'm not looking for it. But I'll say this. When I see blue check marks out there being inconvenienced or trying to tell us of who we should vote for or what we should do this, oh, yeah, all right. So I'm looking at the photo back. Apparently it was maybe not as bright. I want you to see her, like, hugging his stomach, so maybe you could see it a little bit better now. But all these blue check marks telling us what we should do, who we should vote for, they're all made it. They all made it. They have their money. They have their security. They have their protection. They have their, you know, their fortress around their lives. So they're not the ones that need it. We're the ones struggling every day. That's why anybody with a blue check mark, when they turn around and they act all inconvenienced and all this stuff, you know, good. We all deal with that shit every single day. That's why not every blue check mark out there is a jerk, a selfish jerk, but that's why I really do not ever pay any attention to any celebrities, anybody out there that's trying to tell us what to do, what not to do, who they did. They already have their lives. They already made it. So they could care less about anything. You know when they care about us? When they need us. That's how I always look at it. So getting back to Oscar movies, Joseph, you know, I think 1917 is a movie that should get awards. You know, obviously the Joker is going to win some as well. It blows me away. And again, this is a guy that has told you many times that Goodfellas is my favorite movie of all time. Godfather 2 is my second favorite. I saw The Irishman. I did not like it. Not at all. I mean, it was okay. But when I saw nominated, I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, I know there's a lot of nostalgia involved in everything like that, but I did not like The Irishman. It felt like somebody forcing another Goodfellas movie or another casino movie. And look, I understand what they were doing, but I was not feeling it. And when I saw that movie up for that many awards, I'm like, man, 2019 must have been a really crappy year for movies. Really did not like it, but a movie called 1917, I think, is going to get a lot of attention, and the Joker as well, without a doubt. WR1 Network, yes, I did comment on this online. He actually got a WWE logo tattooed to his face, and there's video of it online, and he got it on his face. He's got a lot of tattoos. But he did it and sent it to WWE, hoping that maybe he get a couple of tickets out of it. He's not looking for front row. He's not looking to meet and greet everybody. Just a pair of tickets. And they no-sold him. Like I said, WWE, and look, a lot of places out there are guilty of this. When there's cameras on them, or they could get some publicity or press over it, that's when, you know, you see things happening. But you do something privately without cameras, it virtually never happens. That's why to the day I die, I respect and envy Mick Foley more than anybody else out there with his generosity. Because if I had $1 for every time he did something for someone out there, whether it was a fan, a victim of rape, abuse, somebody who was sick, elderly, kids, if I had $1 for every time he did that and nobody covered it and he intentionally did it without anybody knowing about it, I'd be a millionaire right now. And I always told that story of when he showed up at the wrestling event that I was involved in many years ago. We were doing a fundraiser in Long Island for someone in the military who was seriously injured. And he showed up with his wife and his kids. And at the time, he had knee surgery, I think, with WWE. And this man walked down Sunrise Highway with a crutch. I can't even describe how long the block was, but we saw this, bulky guy with a Mets jersey on. Might have been a Mike Piazza jersey, if I remember. And he's walking with a crutch probably for about 10 minutes down this long freaking highway because they had to park so far away. Didn't ask for anybody's help. Didn't ask for anybody to go pick him up from where he parked his car. Walked with his crutch. Did a whole bunch of photos and autographs. Did not take a penny. Guy is a saint. I know we have Saint Nick Christmas time. We should have Saint Mick as well. Guy is a just beautiful man. By the way, happy birthday, Vince Russo. I know he won't hear this. And I know a lot of you out there want me to down the line do one episode with Vince Russo talking wrestling. Never say never. Never say never. I will tell you that if we keep getting this many people signing up for this page, we will have, different people on. And some of you asked if I would do something with Jason on one of these shows. Absolutely. I will definitely do something with Mish, Joey Numbers, some other podcasters out there that you would never, ever, ever think in a million years I would do something with. Absolutely. I'm down to, do whatever. But just give me a couple of months to really, get used to this. Because, again, I'm only doing this for 10 days. This is my third video, pretty much for the most part. And I still have so much to learn. And I'm still not comfortable. This is not easy. So, in due time, we're definitely going to have fun. But I want to thank everybody who has showed all your support. It's been awesome. Because, it just blows me away of the amount of love and support that's coming my way. And at the same time, it's so frustrating to see a tiny, tiny select few just absolutely hating this. And it's like, man, I rub you that wrong. I mean, just ignore me, move on. And, some in the podcasting world, and it's not the names that you would think, you could probably figure it out online. If you notice, there's some people, like, whenever there's good news to hear, they seem to disappear. I mean, it happens a lot. And I ask some people for some points or suggestions here and there, and, they'll never, ever respond. Like, you have to show love to them first before they'll respond to you back, and it doesn't work that way, but whatever, Donzilla Army, everybody listening, Tron Posse. But yeah, WR1 Network, I'm a little disappointed WWE never hooked you up with tickets, but it is a cool tattoo. I know a lot of you out there might think, oh my God, how do you put a WWE logo on his face? He didn't fucking do it like this, but I give him credit for it. I just hope WWE never changes their letters. I feel bad for I don't feel bad for the people with the WWF logo, because you probably could manipulate that a little bit. I think some people out there, when they originally had the WWF and it went like this, when it went WWE, I think that they were hoping that it would be the scratch logo, but they would just add another line under the F, so it would be like WWE, but instead they just did this. So we'll see. Muriel Coombs, what's up, my friend? Well, the Senate discussion's now underway in a Trump trial. He was wondering, if I was a congressman, which half of the legislature would I go, House or Senate? He would prefer to go into the House. It's more organized, and it's usually Republican controlled. I'd rather be a senator. I think senators are the ones with the power. The House is like a district attorney. We think we have enough, reason to bring this to trial, but then, the Senate is the ones that make the decision. So me, I need the power. I would be a senator. Sly Carey, shout out to you, my friend. OJ Jackson, Action Jackson. Do I think WWE going to have NXT Japan or China? I think you will have a Far East version of the WWE. The problem is number one, the language barrier. And I think that's something that a lot of people really don't stop to think about. They think New Japan coming to the West Coast or coming to America, setting up an office here. Oh, it's, they're going to branch out. And yes, that is going to happen. But they usually commingle with Ring of Honor, or you see a lot of American wrestlers. If WWE is going to have shop in Japan, they're obviously going to need to put exposure on the WWE network. They would definitely commingle the other NXT promotions to try to get more momentum behind it. But there's that big language barrier. See, WWE NXT UK, they're still speaking English. So in Japan, Labasi, he's listening live. It's 6 o'clock in the morning. Go to sleep, man. He's in Germany right now. Oh, it's awesome, man. I appreciate it. Seriously. Everybody listens out there. You know that when I say that, I really mean it. I don't tweet fuck nobody, and I don't pander to nobody out there. But the fact that, you tune in, whether it's live, download, but especially overseas, man, that's beautiful. It's an awesome thing. It's amazing. And I look back at how many people that were trying to convince me that this was a bad idea. Come to video. I don't get it. I don't get it. And this is just the beginning. Could you imagine what this might be like a year from now? Who knows? Anyway, so that's the problem with NXT Japan. Unless it's just going to be so regional. I mean, you have to have translators. How are you going to have the English-speaking audience out there to understand what's going on, to have people talking? Oh, somebody asked me earlier if I would wear the Jason shirt on the next show. I didn't even realize I still got it over here. Should I do it? See, I won't. I could do a Roddy Piper go, blow my nose in it. But no, Jason's good people. I didn't buy that shirt recently. I bought it probably about 2 years ago. Jason, I never saw you buy one of mine. By the way, we're going to be launching new shirts very soon. There's going to be a new breakfast soup shirt. Shaheen is working on some new graphics for yours truly. Wednesday Night Don-O-Mite shirt is definitely going to be made soon. But right now, I think the biggest focus is this. So definitely, as I said again, Sunday night, come right here about 10 minutes after the Royal Rumble, do the recap. I'll be on video. Kev will be on audio. Monday will be the same thing. I will tell you going forward, Monday's DTKC show is going to stay around the 60-minute mark for the simple reason, and I explained it last week, that, looking at the statistics for 2019, some people may find this surprising. The average listening time of our shows, on average, the amount of time somebody listens is about 30 to 45 minutes. Yeah, you might listen in chunks, but the idea is if we're going to do, let's say, 6 hours of content a week, I'd rather do 4 90-minute shows than 2 3-hour shows. Follow me, players? So the idea is that, yeah, Monday will be in an hour, but you'll also have Wednesday, you'll have Friday. We're going to do this Q&A thing every other week. My plan is that, every other week, Patreon exclusive stuff, and every other week will be YouTube stuff. Every Monday is going to be on here now. Discord will still be open. Kev is going to stay on Discord. So anybody that wants to chat on Discord on Mondays, you'll be able to chat with Kev. I will be on YouTube with all of you, viewing here. And it'll work out. So Ryan, Lex Luger is not dead. He is not deceased. He's still alive. And, you're surprised WWE hasn't put him in the Hall of Fame yet. I know he's got a bad reputation. Joe Cronin Show thinks I'm a bad reviewer. I don't know if you're trolling or if that's the truth, but he's got a right to his opinion. I'm not a reviewer, though. I don't review. I mean, yeah, I do recaps, but, I don't sit here, WWE in Houston, Texas, opening match. I don't like doing that. I never, ever like doing that. I think, and this, I'm not saying this towards him, I'm just saying in general, I think anybody out there, whether it's video or audio, can read websites and read results and think, oh, I'm a show host. And, maybe for some people, yes. But I don't like talking with a big format in front of me. Sure, I have notes and I have things because I want to make sure I cover things right. But, if anybody out there, no, Celtic, not Joe Cronin should go fuck himself. The guy runs a good show. Everybody is different. I'll give you a great example. JD from New York. I never liked his stuff. And it was Mish who actually started educating me a little bit. It was Shaheen, Nuclear Heat Graphics, that started giving me a little bit of different perspective of him. Then I got it, just like this. And I was like, all right, yeah, no, I get it now. I understand, what he does and why he does it. And believe me, I tell you, the more I'm learning crash course with this video, the more I'm understanding not only the amount of work involved, but how different it is and how tough this is. So trust me when I tell you, whether it's Joe Cronin or JD or anybody else out there, anybody that's doing video, they got my respect, man. We may not have the same style and we may have different audiences, but those guys fucking work hard, man. So I can't say nothing bad about either one of them. I disagree with a lot of points, but I do agree with some as well. So, yeah, no. I mean, I learned back in 2006 when I used to crack jokes about In Your Head and some of the others. I realized back then that I'd rather people listen or watch me because I'm good, not because someone is bad. And I think that goes for wrestling promotion. I think that goes with anything. You want to feel that somebody is invested in you because you do a good job, not because other people do a worse job. And that's something that changed me many, many years ago. There are still a lot of shows out there that are petrified to name drop other shows. Why? Because they have this thought that, oh my God, if I mention this other show, these people may leave my show and never come back. And that's just an insecurity that, I got rid of that about 14 years ago. Johnny O, what's going on, my friend? I appreciate that you are loving this. It's only going to get better. This is just the beginning. Right now, this is the foreplay. Right now, this is like first date. This is, just getting to know. And, we'll when I start really getting the feel of this, start taking calls, start doing other things. This is just the beginning. Right now, I'm just breaking my cherry. It's going to take me, give me about 2 months. Give me about 2 months of doing this. And we'll have fun, man. We will. And believe me when I tell you, we're already working on this. I will be doing spur-of-the-moment clips here and there, just about random things. It doesn't always have to be set date, set time. I just can't overload myself at the same time. And I got to give major, major props to DJ Dell's Sneaker Podcast. He is the number one guy helping me on YouTube right now behind the scenes and also giving me a lot of guidance. Shaheen, great guy, doing all my artwork, and he is really trying to spread the word. Mish, you have no idea. I mean, obviously, things have been hectic the last 2 weeks, and I don't remember who had asked when I get to it, but, look, different change in his relationship status, and he is moved to Philly, so he's getting settled, and I want to thank all my Patreon posse for allowing us the extra week to prepare for breakfast soup. Just Mish was not able to, do the show last week, but we'll definitely do something this weekend. Michael Smith, besides Sting, who should induct the great Muda into the WWE Hall of Fame when he eventually is put in? I don't think anybody else but Sting. Maybe they would bring Ric Flair, even though I don't like that choice. I think Sting is perfect. There's no reason why they need to. You don't need a Japanese wrestler to induct Muda. You know what I mean? Sting is fine. And WWE's in the good graces of Sting. They have a great relationship. Sting is the perfect person to put Muda in. Look, he's had great feuds with other wrestlers over the years that could put him in. But Sting is perfect. Can non-Jericho Cruise attendees send me anything that might look good for, he calls it the Wall of Fame. I like that. I wouldn't call it the Wall of Fame. I think it's just like random things that have influenced me and reflected me over the years. I got something Morton Downey Jr. going back there soon. You know, I took that Gotti plate out of the woodwork. You know, some of it is tongue-in-cheek humor. I found my Beavis and Butthead bobbleheads. In fact, it creeps me out because the bobblehead, there's not a button that you press where it talks. If there's any movement at all and it senses movement, it just starts going off. I put it on the table the other day. That's been in storage for 27 years. I had to change the batteries. I put it on the table, and before I grabbed the towel to take a shower, and all I did was walk to the closet, take a shower, and all of a sudden, and I freaking jumped. I'm like, what the hell is that? And it's the bobblehead. If I start moving right now, you'll hear it go off. So, yeah, no, look, this wall, as time goes by, there's going to be other things added to it. And it's going to be interesting because if I have to move out of this place in about 2 years, when I do get married, I don't know the exact date yet, you know, it's going to suck. I'm going to have to rebuild everything all over again. But good thing is that, you know, everything is removable and I could just set up, you know, another area the same way. So we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But yeah, if someone wants to send something they think would look good. Now, look, I don't want to be an asshole and say, oh, I can't put everybody's stuff back here, you know, because not everything. I have this thing from the movie They Live with Roddy Piper that's black and white that I have to take out of storage. And it's the scene with all the signs that say consume this. It's beautiful. But, you know, it's got to look good back there. I had a lava lamp that I was going to put back there, but it's too colorful. And when I put it back there, I turned it on, I guarantee everybody would be like this while I'm talking. So, you know, as we go along. But thank you. A wrestler I hated as a kid, but have grown to appreciate more over time. Wow, that's a pretty damn good question. And I know some of you out there would be like, oh, DT, you don't read these questions beforehand? Yeah, I do a lot, but I like to give spur-of-the-moment answers. When I do Monday show, I don't ever have discussions with my co-host beforehand. Kev Castle, it's weird. There's some people that get triggered when I say just my co-host. I have to say him by name. You know, it's almost like Nikki Bella. If you remember the Bellas, when she broke up with John Cena, she could never say John on her reality show. She would just say my ex. Yeah, everybody, I don't know if everybody realized that, but if you go watch it again, she would never say John. She would just say my ex, my ex, my ex. So sometimes when I say my co-host, it's not to be an asshole. But for some people, if it triggers them, yeah, I'll do it, whatever. But a wrestler I hated as a kid, but grew up to appreciate later on, see, that's rough because as a kid, you know, I had wrestlers that I did not like at all, you know, but usually it was like, you know, because I was a kid, you would not like the heels all that much, although Roddy Piper and Magnificent Morocco were absolutely my favorites. You know, Terry Funk was another one. There were wrestlers over the years that I didn't like originally that I really grew to enjoy. Since we're in 2020 and we're talking about wrestlers of today, you know, Cody is a great example. Cody, I just never really got into. I mean, the dashing stuff, even like 2 years ago when he was doing his stuff with Aldis and having some matches, I'm like, I don't get like this aura and buzz around him. Then little by little started growing on me. I'm like, okay, you know what? All right, I get it. And, you know, yeah, we don't see a lot of the hard work that AEW guys are doing behind the scenes. But he's one guy that I see now. And, you know, and I see all the fans into him. Sure, his entrance is a lot more extravagant than a lot of other wrestlers in AEW. But hey, if you do that much work behind the scenes, you should be able to enjoy a little bit more than others. It's just the way it is. Jinder Mahal, Sparky, that is a wonderful example. I mean, I went from Jinder Mahals for many, many years, and then he came back and he was jacked. And not only that, he had ring presence. And I thought that man just dramatically improved. And sure, I said the same thing about Baron Corbin earlier, but Baron Corbin I'm still not into. Jinder Mahal, I feel bad for how much he got crapped on for his title reign. WWE is a lot of fault to that. When they did that Punjabi prison match and brought Khali for that one appearance, I thought that was god-awful. And No, Jinder Mahal is not winning the Royal Rumble. Shanti. They did the 3MB stuff was funny, but Drew McIntyre is another one. Drew McIntyre took a while. Kevin Owens, when Kevin Owens first came in, Rhythm. What's up, Rhythm? All the way from India. Thank you. And I appreciate that. But Kevin Owens, I liked Kevin Owens on the indie circuit. I liked his work in Ring of Honor. When he first came in and he had the issues with the breathing and stuff, and you remember when he was chewing, like every time he came out, and you remember that Eddie Murphy song? I was like, a wind's always chewing all the time, chewing all the time, chewing all the time. A wind's always chewing. He was, and then but he grew on me, and I became a big fan. Heath Slater, I was never a fan of, because, my hair's all messy right now, and I don't have long hair, but Heath Slater, even when he get his ass kicked, you'd always see him laid out on the mat, and he would always do this. He would get his ass kicked in a match, and he always had to play with his hair. He finally stopped doing that a couple of years ago. The kid stuff was fun. I love this thing he did with Brock Lesnar. I know you got kids. Mark L. Lawson, who is on my Mount Rushmore pro wrestlers for ECW, WCW, and WWF. I'm not copping out about the WWF one. That is very, very hard to say because I don't know what period you're talking about. If you're talking about me being alive from the 70s to now, then I have to incorporate WWF to WWF to WWE. Do you include Attitude Era? Do you not include Attitude Era? So that is kind of rough to say. If you want to say WWF/WWE, let's say from the last 30 years or my lifetime, you got to understand something. Bruno was a little bit before he was a lot before my time. But I think you always got to keep Bruno on the Mount Rushmore because Bruno was extremely critical to the WWF in the 60s and the 70s. You look at just how he drew, and he had crossover. He was considered a legitimate athlete outside of wrestling, and he was very revered. And when he passed, you saw all the coverage he got. And he would have gotten more coverage if he passed 20 years ago. It's just that, as you go further and further away of somebody's career, you forget about it. I saw some morons who are very, very young this past week trying to explain why Derek Jeter shouldn't have got anywhere near the number of, he's a Hall of Famer, but shouldn't have gotten like all but one vote in Hall of Fame. If you weren't a baseball fan, even though I wasn't, a Yankees fan, hardcore, but if you were not a baseball fan during that time Derek Jeter played, you will never understand how clutch that guy was and how much of a role model and a leader and everything else. And you can't even explain it. So with WWF, I would have to put Bruno on there. I'd have to put Hogan on there. It's tricky when you put Austin and Rock because, yes, they were a huge, tremendously responsible for the success of the Attitude Era and bringing WWF to $1 billion level. Cena, as much as we have not liked him over the years because of the Super Cena push, Cena is very important to the WWE over the last 15 plus years. You take away Cena, who is underneath him? Undertaker, you could argue, is very, very critical as well. So if you don't want to put Bruno, if you want to go, let's say, WrestleMania to today, I would put Hogan. I would put Undertaker. I would put, Shawn Michaels, I would argue, would be on there as well. And Austin Rock would be a toss-up, man. I wouldn't put Vince on there. I would put wrestlers that were active full-time in the ring. I would kind of lead more towards, this is hard because Austin Rock, that's a toss-up. And with my ECW one, I'll explain something else in a moment. You know, I would lean towards, oh boy, if I had to pick Austin or The Rock, wow, that is so freaking hard. I would lean towards The Rock. Only because Austin, this is a really bad comparison, but I'll say it. Any New York guy will appreciate this. Reggie Jackson, Baseball Hall of Fame. Went in as a Yankee. Played for the Yankees from 1977 to 1981. 82, he went to the Angels. Only played 5 years, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81. But he's revered as an all-time Yankee. 5 years. I put Steve Austin in that category. Steve Austin from 1997, if you want to use 97, from 97 to around 02, 03, you know, it feels that was his peak. And then, you know, he started having the injury issues. The Rock with the crossover, I have to go with Rock a little bit more than Austin, in my opinion. So that's mine. Now, WCW is a little bit tougher, and I know one choice some people may not like, but I'm going to use it anyway. Sting and Flair, obviously, those are two that belong on there. The other two, believe it or not, I have to put Hogan on there. Because when Hogan showed up there in 93, WCW, you know, you look at the documentaries, you understand what WCW was at that time. Hogan brought it to a whole different level. NWO, everything else, rest is history. If you're going to argue Austin, you look at the number of years Austin was, you know, full-time in the WWE, Hogan was more full-time in WCW for more years than, you know, or close to the same number of years as Austin. I know we look at Hogan as a WWE guy through and through, but he was tremendously important for WCW. So I put Sting, Flair, Hogan, and this is my lifetime for the most part. WCW was not around in the 70s. It was NWA, it went to WCW. Fourth person, I would probably put, I don't know. It's hard. Booker T, maybe? Booker T, I think, deserves a little bit because he was very important in the tag team division, never left, stood till the day it closed, you know, became a heavyweight champion. I could go with, I mean, there's a lot of people you could probably put in there. I would love to put Bischoff in there, but if I put Bischoff in there, I got to put Vince with the WWE one. Now, ECW, it just blows me away of all the people who post these lists online, and 95% of them never put up the one guy who was the most important piece of the ECW puzzle to get to where it needed to go. Terry Funk is not even a question. Not because he's my favorite wrestler of all time. Terry Funk is the number one person that should be on Mount Rushmore for ECW. And I will bet the ranch, if you asked 20, 30, 40 former ECW wrestlers who would be on their Mount Rushmore, I can almost guarantee you that 90% of them would put Terry Funk, if not number one. I would put Terry Funk on there. I would put Shane Douglas on there. Shane Douglas, although I know a lot of you out there didn't like him that much, Shane Douglas was extremely important in the early years of ECW. Was very, very important as a champion. I would put Tommy Dreamer because of all the dedication and all the hard work and the feuds. And I would probably put Taz on there as well. Taz, that the aura of the shoot fight, and see, that's why I don't put Bubba Ray Dudley on there. Because if I put Bubba Ray Dudley in there, I got to put Devon Dudley in there as well. The Dudleys as a team were out of the park. If you tell me a Mount Rushmore of ECW tag teams, the Dudleys would be the first two to put on there. Rob Van Dam, you know what? RVD, not enough years. Sabu would be close as well. Sabu and RVD would probably just miss it. Sabu was a phenomenon. Sabu was an attraction. But Terry Funk was so much glue behind the scenes, as was Tommy Dreamer. Taz did a lot as well. Taz, you know, I think was much more. Sabu was critical for ECW But as far as Mount Rushmore goes, you could probably exchange Sabu with Taz. I don't think anybody would argue that. Raven, to me, is up there as well. I don't like Mount Rushmore questions, to be honest with you. I'm not complaining about yours, but that's the reason why I don't like them. Because I could come up with 6 or 7 people that definitely equally deserve to be on there. And when you limit it to 4, if you want to do it from presidents, from 100 years ago, that's easier. When you're talking about a wrestling promotion, there are so many more people instrumental. It's very, very tough to put just 4. That's why Kurt Angle's Mount Rushmore in the WWE is different than Ric Flair's, different than Austin's, different than this. Mick Foley would just miss it as well. Mick Foley was there from 93 to 96. 3 years. So Sandman is very important too, without a doubt. I'm not trying to take away anything from any of them. But if you ask me to give you 4, Paul Heyman should be on the Mount Rushmore as well. So it's not, I hate Mount Rushmore questions with wrestling. Because when you actually start thinking about it, it's not as easy as you think to come up with names. Anyway, WWF Attitude 2011. Shout out to Kyle. Who's the better cook in the de Blasi household, my mother or my father? What are their specialties? Italian food. Love Italian food. My mother is a better cook than my father. She makes an unbelievable lasagna, stuffed shells, pasta gulaglia. She makes great chicken franchise. I'm not a big seafood guy, but my father is tremendous on the barbecue. My father will cook steak on a frying pan, 500, 600 degree oven for like 2 minutes to seal everything in and then barbecue it. And he puts butter and stuff. My father's insane with that. But push comes to shove, my mom's a better cook. So it sucks that I'm on keto because almost everything that my mom makes I can't have right now. But as a lifelong Milwaukee Brewer fan, he's been blessed with having one of the most famous great announcers, Bob Uecker. Also happens to be a WWE Hall of Famer. Do I have any memories of him? Oh, sure. Bob Uecker is awesome, man. Bob Uecker's Hall of Fame speech. I'm not talking about wrestling. The wrestling one was hilarious. But the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame speech was epic as well. Bob Uecker, I have so many ABC baseball, Monday Night Baseball games from the 70s that he did commentary with Howard Cosell and others. I have heard his commentary with Brewers games, even though he's not as comedic. Who could ever forget, his work on Major League? Bob Uecker is awesome. Awesome man. Awesome man. It's funny, quick-witted. You look at him on like Johnny Carson. There's so much. You go on YouTube and just type his name up. See the gems. This was a baseball announcer. I mean, when he talks about his baseball career, you can't stop laughing. It's just, he's hysterical. He's awesome. When was the last time I was at the old ECW Arena in South Philly? The last time I was there, wow, it's got to be around XPW time. There was a couple of times that I was going to go. Actually, no. I went to WWE, showed up and was trying to do their recreation of ECW. It went one night there, was god-awful. It was more fun to watch the diehard ECW fans who went to the old ECW in like withdrawal that they were getting a WWE version, and have all the fans shitting on the WWE guys. That was entertaining as hell. But, since then, they transformed it. My God, when me and Slash went to Home Depot it was the week or a day or two before Lizzie Borden's birthday, because I remember everybody had a cake for her, a surprise birthday cake, but it was snowing out, and we went to Home Depot and bought all this wood, and we built like a little stage so this band could play live during an XPW event. And I remember when we started like ripping apart the Eagle's Nest, you had to see some people online that were like, that's hallowed ground. How dare you manipulate or alter the Eagle's Nest? And I was like, because XPW paid the landlord extra money to do it. That's all it was. I mean, the people that owned the ECW arena, they rented it out. They leased it out to wrestling companies. I mean, they had obviously a connection to ECW, and they have been featured on some documentaries way back when, but it was about business. It was about money. And, you know, it was hilarious when people were like, ah! You know, like, what are you doing to the Eagles desk? I mean, they're just like, I posted a photo. I remember taking a picture with my ugly old fucking silver phone, and I posted online, and people were like, ah! It's hilarious. Am I more of a donut or a bagel guy? Neither one, but they do have keto bagels right now that I actually eat that are almond flour. They're a little dry, but they're not too bad. Eddie Valentino, what's my opinion on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? I agree. They need to change it. B.I.G., Whitney, you know, Kraftwerk, which, you know, I'm just like amazed, like what's going on with them over the years with the Hall of Fame. They're not rock and roll. I understand it originally was the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I believe within the next 5 years, the name will be changed a little bit. It has to be more of like a music Hall of Fame. They have to manipulate the name. My opinion on it is that when you see some names that are not on there, I could understand if it's WWE because maybe Martha Hart doesn't want Owen in, or somebody's on the bad graces of WWE, so they're not in. But the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, when you see, there's websites that have a list of people who are not in. And when you read the list, I actually covered this on a Breakfast with Blassie 2 or 3 years ago. You go to dontony.com in the search box. If you type in Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, you could actually hear what I said a couple of years ago. I went down the list. I think I read about 40 names that were not put in. And people are like, are you kidding me? I mean, it's ridiculous, their process. It's ridiculous. And yeah, you know, congrats to everybody who goes in, deservingly so, but I think that name will be manipulated. Your best bargains, what's one piece of wrestling memorabilia that I own that I never sell because of the personal connection? The letter that Terry Funk wrote to me when I got engaged in 1998. I have it. I'll show you in the near future. I have it stored away. When I had my car accident and my ex was not a wrestling fan and she wrote to some people, she didn't know who Terry Funk was, but she knew that he was my favorite. And she wrote to him. Terry Funk sent me a branding iron. Terry Funk sent me a T-shirt that's never been sold that he actually wrote a nice message on it. I have it inside. I can show that next show. But he wrote me a 2-page letter talking about how precious marriage is. That's why I felt so freaking terrible when his wife died recently, because he was talking about her. And I would never read the letter publicly, but I could show it to you, and you'll see, you know, the writing. You'll see it's beautiful. And when you read it, it's just like he loved his wife so much. And it's, you know, it's just sad, but that's my favorite. I would never get rid of that. I'd rather throw it out than sell it. Chat site, best promo of all time, Ric Flair or The Rock? I go with Ric Flair for one reason only. The Rock was great at insults. The Rock was great more as an entertainer. Ric Flair's promos would be about his matches, would be about his opponents. And sure, Rock would make fun of his opponents as well. But The Rock was more laughs, you know, smiles. Ric Flair was more, this is why I'm going to destroy you and belittle you, and this is why I'm the greatest of all time. So that, as far as wrestling matches go, Ric Flair. Not even close. Although Rock made me laugh hysterical over the years. Becky Lynch, not the Becky Lynch. When am I going to jam out some Rappo Clappo, Joe Baton, and the Cedric Alexander rap song? I got to be careful because of copyright. You know, I made that mistake the first show I did. I put a song on, and immediately I get a thing from YouTube. Oh, you can't do that. What do you want to do? And then I realized last week, and that freaking music company with the disco song still hasn't gotten back to me. So Dells put that, if I don't know if anybody heard the clip this week, Dells spliced in the 70s, like this early 70s one that Mish had. No, Dells made it for me, actually. And it's awesome. And it got through YouTube. They gave it permission. So we're going to probably use that one going forward. It's wonderful. It's like really, really hardcore black Dynamite stuff. Anybody that goes back to the really hardcore black movies of the early 70s, when I play it, you'll know what I mean when I say that. But yeah, Rappo Clappo, ooh, I didn't like that when I came out. My mother loved it. And that was the first rap song that I remember. I'm sure we had Rapper's Delight. I think King Tim III was the first ever rap song that really was on vinyl. But I remember my mom with a record player, just clap your hands, everybody. Everybody, come on, clap your hands. Go, just do a YouTube search for Rappo Clappo. And you know what's funny about that? If you watch that music video from 1979, you got white girls singing with black girls. You got white guys singing with black guys. And you see social media today, and they still look at it like, oh, my God, we all need to sing together. They've been singing together. Whatever. Andrew 914, do I think in storyline, if there's two winners in a Royal Rumble like Bret Hart and Lex Luger, should they simply restart the match with both wrestlers in the ring instead of a coin toss the next night on Raw? No, you know what? Look, this is all predetermined. So if you have two wrestlers in the ring, and that's designed for a storyline purpose. It's not like it accidentally had two people, and you're like, oh, what do we do now? So there's a reason why Bret Hart and Lex Luger, they did what they did, because they needed to have that extra match for the Yokozuna thing. So it depends on the storyline. Me personally, if you're going to come out with one winner, restart the match. That's what I would do if we're not talking storyline. Uno Bassman goes back to the Minority Report days. Thinks I should always wear my shades on camera. Could be my trademark. Yeah, I used to do that on the indie circuit. I don't care if it hides my age. I know how I look, and I know my age. And, yes, there was a long time that I did not think I looked good enough for all of you on camera, without a doubt. But I always posted something of me online. I don't get these people who actually have the nerve to be literally public figures. They may not be famous, but they want all the notoriety. They want all the prestige. They want to be labeled. They want to be noticed. They want the attention. But they're so embarrassed to show themselves. I mean, that just baffles me. It's just, I understand why there's and this has nothing to do with my co-host with that. I'm just saying in general, because I see it on social media. I see tons of trolls, and I see people out there that want you to invest time, trust, and energy in, but yet a lot of what they tell you online is a lie. It's an absolute lie. And it's disgusting, and it is a sickness. I've said this for many years right now. Social media is a sickness. Social media did not ruin wrestling. Some people said, oh, because of social media ruined No, social media ruined a lot of people's lives. There are people, grown people right now, that do nothing. They may work or they may go to school, but they have traded in going out, having a relationship, enjoying life outdoors. They'd rather just sit in front of a computer, type something that they want you to believe about themselves, and they'll do this. And after a couple of years, you have created this profile of yourself that everybody believes. And the problem is, and this is something I think a lot of people need to understand too, is that there's a lot of people I know that there's some people online that are absolute frauds. And the problem is that the reason why they just turn the other way and let it go, because they're frauds too. You ever hear misery loves company? And that, unfortunately, is what's happened online. And that's what made the Jericho Cruise so wonderful. I don't know, it was Matt Kuhn. I don't remember who talked to me earlier. I was drawing a blank right now. But you had 2,000 fans go on that cruise. No fights, a lot of drinking, but no fights, no incidents, no over the top, shitting on WWE or Vince McMahon. 2,000 fans having a wonderful time. You know, Marco Stunt singing with Jericho. They were there. Everybody was, you had people, the only people bitching about it is the people who sit behind a computer anonymously. You know, they just can't see other people having fun, can't see people enjoying themselves. Their lives are so miserable outside of social media that they just have to complain about everybody. It's like the crazy old lady that lived down your block that you would see her in the morning and be like, "Hi, Mrs. Smith." "Ah, shut up." "Oh, Mrs. Smith, you know, Merry Christmas." "Ah." That's what you got on social media. And it's terrible. And when I saw all the happiness and the love, I'm not trying to be a softie here or politically correct, but it just blew me away. People making fun of people going on this cruise. I mean, because they're wearing a Jericho shirt, because they're serenading Judas. I wore the Judas shirt Wednesday as a tribute to everybody who went on that ship that sung Jericho's song. Moxley's doing karaoke. People are having fun. And that just bothers people. It's terrible. Terrible. You know, it's funny. I'm going to reveal something, and this is not trying to start anything, but I'll tell you something. Kev Castle did his Patreon show last week. And, you know, he was talking a little bit about, you know, his decision not to do video now, but we'll revisit it in 6 months, which is totally fair. And, you know, the setup is, you know, I'm video on YouTube. He's going to be audio. That was discussed 6 months ago. That's nothing new. I'm a video podcaster now. And that was the compromise to keep the DTKC show going. That was the compromise between us two. It wasn't one-sided. I hear his wise-ass remarks, "Oh, you know, this is retro 2 weeks ago." You know, I'm like, no, we've been planning this for 6 months. But I'm telling you, let me explain why I'm saying this. So he wanted to know, how is this going to work going forward? And, you know, I don't want to screw anybody on Discord. But the fact is that, you know, it's hard to do all the production, all the recording, gathering all the news, getting all the plugs, doing the recording, editing, uploading, this and that. You know, this isn't my full-time job. And then on top of it, monitoring a Discord channel and YouTube. So he's more comfortable with Discord. So I said, okay, just leave Discord chat going and you talk to the people in Discord. And his question then was, what do we do about the trolls on YouTube? And he immediately started suggesting individual people to become moderators. And I didn't say nothing. But after I heard that, I was like, no. So I wrote very friendly on that page, and I said, this is my YouTube channel. You're telling me that I need to hire a moderator? How do I deal with trolls? By putting on a good show, by listening to all of you, by having fun. Any trolls? Any trolls last couple of days? Maybe you get one person here and there, but how do we deal with trolls? Grow thick skin. That's my answer to it. So the reason why I'm saying this is because, you know, going forward, this is my page, man. Everybody here, it's because you want to be here, not because anybody's forcing you to. And we'll do it just fine. So everything will be just fine. Trust me when I tell you, we will have fun. But trust me, I trust everybody out there is enjoying this. There is no way that you're going to waste your time. There is no way that you're going to sit at home being a grown adult and say, I can't wait. 10:15, I'm going to go on YouTube and make fun of everybody. I can't wait. How do you deal with trolls? Give them what they want. Give me what I want. What is that? Batista. Give me what I want. Anyway. So, you know, look, whatever. Blah, 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 blah. I don't even know why we said this, but Uno, thank you very much for the look suggestions. Mike G, I know Kev booted a Patreon member from Discord the other day, and I saw the comment. You know, unfortunately, you know, it is what it is. I reinstated him. You have to be able to handle criticism. There's a lot of people who contact me privately that tell me point blank, If you noticed, I did not use the Lord's name in vain tonight. Somebody really got offended by that. Now, I could turn around and put that guy on blast and have all of you laugh at that person or make fun of him. I felt bad the other day. Somebody simply just said, look, you know, you cough into a microphone nonstop. Why don't you just hit the mute button? And I don't want to say the person's name, but it's one of our biggest supporters. And what I heard later on was, oh, see, I'm coughing. I'm like, man, you got to be able to take some criticism. And look, this is not throwing shade on. I'm just saying overall, you have to be able to accept criticism. You know, there's a video I strongly suggest anybody out there that may be thinking about doing something in the future, especially on YouTube. Go on my Twitter, @DonTonyD. The guy even gave me some appreciation and thanks back. I posted it yesterday. I don't remember his name offhand, but he posted 10 things that you should do to be successful on YouTube. And the one of the things that he said was, be prepared to suck. Be prepared to suck. And you have to improve. And just like when you first ride a bike, you first drive a car, there are some people that may not be able to drive a car for years and years and years. You got to be able to have thick skin. You know, John Draper is an awesome fucking guy. And John Draper sees sometimes I get a troll here and there. And he's like, man, why do you even bother with them? I'm like, it's all right, I can handle it. When I had the situation with Stevie Ray, I felt bad after. And I said to Mish to his face, I said, Mish, I'm not stupid. All of you were mad at me because they were sticking up for me and they were dealing with a lot of trolls. And I said, guys, don't worry about it. I got this. Yeah, but no. I got this. And they really put their, Kevin too, put his ass on the line for me. I just felt like, all right, you know, I got thick skin. I can handle this. And some people got offended by that. You have to have thick skin. You have to, and that's why I'm able to do this now. I know, you know, somebody said earlier that, what's his face, Joe Cronin thinks I'm terrible. I don't know if that's exaggerated or not, but I guarantee you there's some people out there that absolutely think that I am god-awful, the drizzling shits. Fine. You know, nobody forces you to pay attention to me or to watch me or do anything like that. You know, there's no perfect person out there. There's no perfect president. There's no perfect athlete. There's no perfect podcaster. There's no perfect person out there. You know, you just have fun, do your best, and listen. Just because someone criticizes you doesn't mean that they hate you, doesn't mean that they are trying to make fun of you. And when you put people on blast simply because they're just telling you what they have a problem with, you know, that's a big problem. And that's how you get trolls, in my opinion. But Duke Togo, thank you. He says, I look healthy now. I didn't look healthy before. I've been on keto for about 7 months now. And the funny thing is, I've lost a total of 4 pounds in the last 2 months. Not a lot, but I've actually gone down a waist size. And the reason being is because I'm finding out now that I am not even working out. I'm converting fat into muscle. And maybe I'll post it next time, but if anybody out there that's looking to diet, one thing I want you to look up. You will appreciate this. Go on Google and just type this in. 5 pounds of fat versus 5 pounds of muscle. Just type 5 pounds fat vs 5 pounds muscle. First picture will come up is some sexy chick, really, really hot chick. And she's got in her hand, in one hand, what 5 pounds of fat looks like. And in the other hand, she's got what 5 pounds of muscle looks like. And the best way I could describe it is 5 pounds of fat looks like this. 5 pounds of muscle looks like this. I used to joke with my friends like, hey, I weigh the same as Lex Luger. But meanwhile, my stomach is like, and Lex Luger is like this because 5 pounds of muscle is this. Meanwhile, 5 pounds of fat is this. So if you're 250 pounds of muscle, you look really, really fit. I still got another 30 pounds or so to lose, but that's what's happening now. Since I'm on keto, most of everything I'm eating is fat. So my body is burning fat for energy. So as long as I'm replacing the fat with muscle, you actually could get smaller and weigh the same. So, Well, man, look, some people said cooking with Don Tony. I will definitely be doing that in the near future. I got a couple of things that I'm going to do. In fact, I don't want to take it out now, but you see that canvas art back there that says the big one right there, the Don Tony Podfather? I found a company online called Canvas Champ. I still have it sealed. Yes, they're in India. But I heard great things about him. By the way, shout out to my friend who I shouted earlier that was listening live in India. I got high recommendations from them. They do awesome canvas work online for next to nothing in price. So I said, all right, there you go. Make me 4 of these. Box is still sealed. I got it right here. I haven't opened it yet. I can't put it closely because I don't want you to see my shipping address. But see, look, this is all the way from India. So next week, I'm going to open this up live on the show, and we'll see if this looks like that. Now, I am a little bit concerned because the box is a little bit thin. There's supposed to be 4 of them in here. Maybe there's only 3. But I'm going to unbox this, and if it looks great, then, we'll get some more made up, and maybe we'll give away some too as well. Anyway, we're running late, a lot later than I expected. I really want to wrap up all these questions because you were kind enough to leave them, but there are quite a few. I did not realize how many questions there were. Kevin the Man, thoughts on the Conan attack? I mentioned it Wednesday. Psychosis number 2. No matter how bitter he may have been towards Conan, to slap a 60-year-old man and have your posse videotaping it, and to me, the guy just committed career suicide, whatever is left of it. I don't know the guy personally, but the more I'm hearing about him, he's a dirtbag. But I blame this on AAA for continuing the La Parka character, even though there was no controversy really there. God rest, La Parka's soul, who passed away. He didn't do anything wrong. But I don't like, because you have a gimmick, a costume, a mask, and it's so successful, that wrestler retires, and then you decide you're going to have someone else continue portraying that for another decade or two. I don't like that idea. Or you better be very, very careful who you put underneath that mask. Because if that person turns out to be a total douchebag, all you're doing is confusing the fans out there. I never, ever envisioned we would have another Mil Mascaris. I don't think we'd ever envision to have another Jushin Thunder Liger. I would never envision. So I just don't like that, oh, no, but this character generated so much money. Nicho can't do it anymore, so let's put this fucking guy under there. You're just asking for trouble. And the problem is, somebody who's a really nice guy 5 years ago, 10 years ago, may end up becoming the biggest psycho motherfucker piece of shit out there. And, that's why even when in my insurance business, I got a couple of customers who were the ultimate assholes. Believe me, if they were wrestlers and they tagged up, like if you want to do some, old tag teams, in the spirit of the Ultimate Warrior, they would team up. They would be called the ultimate assholes. The ultimate assholes. And I have other customers say to me, like, why do you take that? Just get rid of the person. Why did you even give them insurance in the first place? And I say to them every time, I didn't know this person was going to turn out to be a nut. I have to just suck it up. I got to just do my job, and that's it. So, Toy Harper, thank you, my friend. Do I ever see myself, Kev Castle, and Jason ever getting together for dinner or some other outing? I never say never. I mean, I'm not against it, but, I'm not going to go out of my way either. There's been opportunities. See, that's the thing that's pretty funny that I say, not necessarily with Jason, but others out there. I worked doing indie wrestling stuff from 2002 to 2009 or 2008. So that's 6 years of shows. Joey 924, if anybody remembers him, and Black Moses, they went to XPW events with me, 1 or 2. And I've had others that went to USA Pro Wrestling events that I was involved in, and we all hung out. So it's 6 years, for people to come by, and they never came by. So I say never with anybody out there, but, I do know that we're having a get-together in the next month or two. It might be first week in March in Jersey. It might be. I don't remember the Fed. I was looking into GCW for Valentine's Day weekend, but it's Valentine's Day weekend, and I don't know if that's going to happen. But first week, in fact, I think it's going to be for the AEW event in Jersey, Newark. So we're all going to probably get together and go to the AEW event. In fact, I have somebody working on getting me 6 first or second row tickets. So there's an opportunity for everybody to get together. I know Mish will be there for sure, and we'll see. But never say never. You know. MB Cash, do I find it odd that Vince McMahon considers Martin Luther King Jr. one of his heroes, given his track record of how he booked black performers in the past? No, I don't think it's odd at all. I think on the surface, people see the Vince McMahon character when he had the do-rag and used the N-word at least once, and some wrestlers are not pushed. But, you know, bad business decisions and what's in your heart, 2 totally different things. Sometimes and I'm not justifying Vince, but you have to think with your mind. You also have to think with your heart too. But trust me when I tell you, if you ever felt, how would you feel if you found out that Vince McMahon put the world title on Kofi Kingston because he was black? Not because he was on any momentum, not because the fans got behind him, but just felt, you know what, let's put on a black person. Get that stigma out of the way. How would you feel? I think you would probably feel 10 times worse than if he didn't put the belt on someone. I totally disagree with the fact, I disagree with Vince that it took this many years to put a title on a black man. Should have happened many, many years ago. And it didn't. But, you know, if Martin Luther King Jr. has influenced him in his latter years and he considers him one of his heroes, I don't think you should belittle him for that or criticize him for that. If anything, I would be happy that the man actually has grown and has learned and has seen the light and really has let him in his soul. So, you know, I don't think Tessa Blanchard should have gotten the title because she's a woman. I don't think Kofi should have gotten a belt because he was black. I don't think this person should get a belt because they are gay. I don't think this person should get a title because we haven't had a Japanese champion in oh so many years. I want to believe that Kairi Sane and Asuka got the tag titles because they are the best freaking women's tag team in the WWE today. Plain and simple. You know, when I mentioned this Wednesday, when Keith Lee won his belt, I did not think, oh, second black person to hold an NXT title, whatever it is. No, I just felt, you know what? Keith Lee, it was the right time, and I'm freaking happy for him. People got to stop looking at everything as black and white, straight and gay. You know, people need to look as people, as human beings. And I know that's a lot easier said than done, especially I'm a white Italian guy that never got abused as much as others. Sure, I dated a Jewish girl and her family totally belittled me because I was an Italian white guy, but I don't think that's anywhere on the level of a lot of my black friends and listeners who get pulled over from the cops and harassed simply because they're black. I don't compare the two. I look at a family. I don't look at them as race. I look at pieces of shit. Thank God I didn't stay with her. But we got to stop looking at everything based on color and gender and sexual orientation. So, this is my solo Q&A, whatever we want to call it. The scumbag reading the mailbag. So we're not going to use that name. But anyway, Stun 3R. Misses the bigger-than-life characters. Some were steroid monsters. Today's wrestlers look like a landlord, a bartender, a Starbucks person. And by the way, Vince Russo and Just Incredible hit it out of the park talking about Dr. Shit Baker. Said pretty much what I said Wednesday. That was a taped episode of Dynamite. And when they watched that back, they should have just said, look, Britt, you know, it just feels that people in the back are just afraid to hurt people's feelings. Somebody should have just stepped up and said, look, we're not going to air this. We didn't think it was strong enough, and we want to extend this a week or two, then have the confrontation with Tony Schiavone. But people are I think people are afraid to hurt people's feelings. You can't do that in a wrestling promotion. You have to be tough, and you have to have the nerve to go up to someone. It's not always cake and ice cream. And I do miss the larger-than-life characters, but I also appreciate the smaller wrestlers. I find it difficult to buy into Marco's stunt, but I give him all the credit in the world of pursuing a dream and enjoying it. That doesn't mean that guy should be having 20-minute matches with, the Lucha Brothers. But, I can't knock someone for pursuing something that they loved and dreamed. But I do miss the larger-than-life characters. But if you said to me that someone's health is going to be compromised because they're bigger, I'd rather have smaller people. I'd rather have smaller, healthier people than having big monsters who down the line are going to be crippled or sick or die at a younger age, in my opinion. Dominic Walker, one of the funnier quotes I heard, Vince McMahon, the one where he talked about, that Shane was the product of his semen, my impersonations, I love those. Wasn't it Shane McMahon and Vince or Shawn Michaels, Vince teaming up with God or something? I don't know. It was just god-awful. But my favorite Vince McMahon moment, the one I laugh at the most, is when Ric Flair, I'm taking the glass off for a reason, when Ric Flair was revealed to be the consortium, that he bought one half of WWF, and him and Vince were partners. If you go back and watch that again, you look at Vince's face, and he's like, I couldn't stop laughing. Every time I see that clip, I can't help but to laugh my ass off. Go back and watch it. You'll see what I'm talking about. He didn't say a word, but his reaction was just priceless. He's like, what the hell just happened? It was just hilarious. But Joseph Acevedo, the fourth, what really happened with me and Joey 924? We went our separate ways. We had a falling out with the shows. Like I said, I feel bad of his disability, without a doubt. What I didn't like was when he would talk crap behind my back and say things about me, and then when I would confront him, he would throw in my face, how could you, say something like that to a disabled person or someone in a wheelchair? And I'm like, nope, he's pussy. I could only imagine how rough it has been for him dealing with his disability. But don't hide behind that shit, man. Don't talk stuff. I wrote this on Twitter yesterday. It's really sad that, and you know what? This goes to what Oz, AKH in the chat right now. There are some people out there that are talking nice about me publicly, smiling at me publicly, but stabbing me in the back still as we speak. I don't think they realize that some of the birdies they're talking to would be chirping to me. It's almost like a parrot. Like they're telling people behind the scenes, how awful that I'm doing with this and why did I do this and, I'm hurting this and I'm hurting that. And meanwhile, those people that they're talking to are going back to me and going, Don Tony's an asshole. Don Tony's an asshole. Don Tony's a prick. Don Tony's a prick. Don Tony's selfish. Don Tony's selfish. They're chirping. I can't do what I want to do here. This is my life. This is my stuff. This is me evolving, expanding. Yeah, this might end up being a second career or money or whatever it is. This is me. I don't owe nothing to nobody. I'm not doing this to hurt anybody or screw anybody. Some very odd people out there. Thank God it's this little. Trust me. I don't have angst with anybody out there. I swear on my mother. There's literally nobody right now that I hate. When I say balls ahead, full steam ahead, That's me, and that's all of you. Why do I have to, like, because others don't want to go, this is me. This is my choice. This is me going forward. This is my life. So, no, Oz, I don't think you disrespected me at all. No, whatsoever. None whatsoever. It's just that, some people are, like, giving me praise publicly and behind the scenes are stabbing me in the back. But see, I don't get angry at that. As twisted as this sounds, and anybody that's a longtime listener will get this, but when I get that deep inside someone like that, I feel like I must be doing something right. Because if I can't stand someone, I just won't pay attention. That's how I look at it. Peter Quill, 1999. Would I do a video with Ryback talking about like fast food and keto and stuff like that? Yeah, I would do it. Absolutely would love to do it. Ryback is totally I'm totally out of Ryback's league though. He's the man. And I am so into his channel. You got to go watch it. The guy, he's found something else. And talk about a guy, that I don't think in his wildest dreams, I don't think Ryback ever envisioned the YouTube channel that he does now, especially eating like the death nut and, doing the one chip challenge in his car and then going to the drive-thru and he's pouring sweat and, the guy is funny. He's just funny. He's not a bitter former WWE wrestler. You could see that the guy's having fun. Garth, would I bring Wrestling Soup and Solomons on the main YouTube channel? Sure. If they wanted to do something, absolutely. Why not? RCWR, what do I think of the comment Sabu recently said about his time in XPW? I saw a little bit of it. Sabu, he is what he is. You know what I mean? I didn't think that Sabu enjoyed XPW all that much. And he has that right. Sabu, he's a character. If anybody saw the picture of him in the gym that he posted in the last day or two, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen it, just go search it. Just type in Sabu Gym and see what comes up. It's going to offend some people. Festive Sword. First match I ever watched live. How did I get into wrestling? How did I get into wrestling my first match? I don't know if you're talking about me actually having a match because I have had matches, but, look, the getting into a match, it was just people wanted to see me get my ass kicked. That's really what it was. I had a ball doing it, but my grandmother, as I said earlier, she's the one that got me into wrestling. My grandmother would babysit me and my brother when we were very, very young. And my grandmother, when I say, and I'll show you the picture one more time so you could just see what she looks like. I was a chunky monkey when I was young. And what would happen is I'd be in my house and my mom would say, don't eat any cake or cookies before dinner. And when my mom went into the other room, my grandmother, I called her nanny. She would go take a cookie. Take it. Go in the other room. I would say no. And she would sneak it. Now, look at her again. I loved her to death, but you could see that she's enjoyed cookies as well. So, she would let me enjoy myself a little more. And when I used to go over her house, she used to babysit me at night. I still remember it to this day. I was not even 10 years old, and she was watching wrestling at midnight. And I heard the noise, and I went into the room. I said, Nanny, what are you watching? And she was watching wrestling. And I sat on the edge of the bed, and I was watching her for a few minutes. I didn't even know what the hell I was watching. And that was it. And then a couple of weeks later, she babysitted me at my house, and my parents came home after midnight, and my grandmother let me watch wrestling with her again. And my mother's like, don't let them watch that. Don't let them watch that. As soon as she said that, I became a wrestling fan. Because now, even though I was a kid, all right, what is this that she doesn't want me to watch? And yeah, I miss her dearly, Rick. I miss her dearly. You have no idea. I'm surprised I didn't get a little choked up earlier. She was awesome. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Awesome. Derek, what do I think of music groups like New Edition? Hated them. New Kids on the Block? Hated them. Never got into them. I just was there. Cool it down. You got to cool it down. I hated that shit. I never liked New Edition. Never liked Belle Biv DeVoe. Now you know. Never liked New Kids on the Block. Color Me Bad. I did Menudo. My God. I didn't have anything against them. I was just never into child bands. Even when I was like 5 years old, my mom's listening to the Osmonds. I tolerated the Jacksons a little bit when I was a kid, but then never liked any of them. As far as love songs, I would listen to like R&B stuff. There used to be something here in New York called The Quiet Storm, WBLS. Do a YouTube search. Some people have recorded them from way back when. And you could just picture yours truly in an alley making out with some behemoth, just to try to, have fun and listening to Quiet Storm late at night on WBLS. And you would hear like Ocean Breeze and stuff like that. Any R&B stuff I loved. Although I have not played yet when I popped the question in November. I haven't played that video yet. I know I put a couple of teaser videos as I was setting up the room, but if you remember those videos, the music in the background was terrible. Couldn't control it. And the weirdest thing happened. When she texted me and said that she was on her way up to the room, it was almost like God heard me, because all of a sudden the next song that played on the TV was one of the most popular love songs in the last like 20 years. I'm not going to say what it is, but when she opened the door and I popped the question and that music was playing in the background, it was just like picture perfect. It was just the weirdest thing. I think even before she walked in the door, you hear me saying on the video, like, I can't fucking believe that this song just came on. It was just really, really weird. Really weird. DeBow, as I said before, Mish, little relationship change. So, DeBow, now you know. Belle Biv DeBow. Hudstad, we're almost done, everybody. I promised I'd get into everybody's questions. Hudstad, so no YouTube on Monday nights because of Kev. No, YouTube will remain. Like I said, it's going to be video, me, audio, him. Well, you'll hear me too. And that'll be the format for the next 6 months or so. And we'll revisit it 6 or 7 months. I want to make this perfectly clear. My decision is because this is my life and I needed to go further. Otherwise, I was done. I felt this is way overdue. I needed to do video. Anybody that does video shows understands why, to me, I got to progress. I got to feel like I'm going further with things. I don't need notoriety. Extra money is always nice. I got a lot of bills and I'm about to get married in a couple of years. But, nobody's forced to do this with me. Nobody's forced to do anything. I did not want to end the DTKC show, and none of you out there wanted it to end either. So there's got to be a compromise. I can't hold myself back and not go to satellite radio, not do video, not do this, simply because somebody I'm doing a show with doesn't want to do it either. There's got to be a compromise, and we compromised. And we're going to make the best of it, and it's going to be fun. Sure, I know there's going to be people that are going to pressure him, but I told him this 6-7 months ago, and I prepared everybody online too. I said, please, if you're a fan of him, don't pressure the guy. If you don't want to do it, he ain't going to do it. But don't make fun of me or put me down or say that I'm doing something wrong or I'm trying to screw somebody over because I'm doing this. Because if that is bad, it should be just as bad that you're saying that I shouldn't go further. I shouldn't try to make extra money. I shouldn't try to, expand my, abilities, talent, see me eye to eye, have fun on video, be animated and do stuff, that I shouldn't do all of this to make somebody else happy. In life, you got to make yourself happy. You got to put yourself number one, no matter who you are. And the idea that you should hold back, you want to do that for your wife, your husband, your parents, your significant other, that's fine. But to lose opportunities and not take opportunities, like I said, there are so many things that I had on my bucket list over the last 5 years that I did not do. I had things on my bucket list for the last 15 years that I did not do that I'll never be able to do. And it really, really upsets me that I didn't do it. It's nobody's fault. It was my choice. So I should not have to defend myself trying to go further. Why does other people do shows on YouTube? You know, and sometimes the first reaction you see from people is the most honest. And when I saw some people out there saying, oh, I don't need to be a middle-aged YouTube wannabe star, or 90% of the shows out there are not video, or this and that. Oh, good. But don't throw shade on me because this is what I want to do. This is what makes me happy. This is what makes me enjoy myself. I'm having fun doing this. And the thing about it is, and I'm not saying this for anybody to put love on me or to kiss my ass, but I worked my goddamn ass off physically and psychologically the last 6 months to get to this part now. You know, I always joked on the audio thing that some people think it's easy, like, oh, let me put these headphones on. Let me talk. Let me take the headphones off. Let me turn my computer off. And hey, I'm a legend. It doesn't work that way. There is so much freaking work involved with this that I got, I think, 5 hours sleep in 4 days last week. But you know what? I woke up, and that's on that top 10. I told you to watch that video from that guy earlier. I can't remember his name, and it sucks because the video is awesome. He says you have to love what you do. He's even said other people will look at what you're doing and saying, how could you love the grind? And he even brought up Jerry Seinfeld. Jerry Seinfeld said that you got to love the grind, like to get to that point. I love the grind. I love making the sausage. Some people just want to eat other people's cooked sausage. Me, if I'm going to eat sausage, I'm going to make it myself. I'm going to mix all the ingredients. I'm going to run it through the machine. I'm going to cook it. I'm going to prepare it. And then I'm going to eat it, and I'm going to enjoy it. And I'm going to know that I did the whole sausage. Thank you, Zach Rayner. Thank you, man. I'm always straight up with everybody here. And that's why I think this is going to work, because we're all in the same boat. Yeah, I might be the one with the camera, but again, that's why I don't put much stock in a lot of blue check marks. They don't know any of us out there. They made it. They got their nest egg. So it's easy for them. Look, Robert De Niro used to be my favorite actor. Nah, I don't like him at all. You know, when I hear him saying, trying to tell us like what we should do and who we should vote for, this and that son of a bitch is shielded in his own little world. So it's very easy for him to complain and shit and this and that. He don't know the struggle that everybody listening is going through. They don't know none of that stuff. So who I listen to? All of you. I listen to my friends. I listen to my family. I listen to the people I care about. So, and shout out to Fahad. What's going on, buddy? And by the way, shout out to everybody listening live, because we went longer than expected. My God, how long has it been? 3 hours? We got to end this, man. I still got like freaking 10 questions. Should we carry this to next week? Because I was going to do this every 2 weeks, but should we do this next week again? Did you like this? You want to do this next Friday? I'll finish the questions next week. Should we do that? Yeah, because people want to know the story about the 90-year-old guy punching me in the mouth in my office when I took a shit underneath the ring during a homicide match, when I got caned from the Sandman. We got some great stories next week. So, yeah, look, the awesome thing about it is I'm going through these questions. The awesome thing about these questions is that none of it really is going to be outdated by next week. If there's any will fans riot or turn like they did on Roman Reigns in 2015 if Cain Velasquez wins the 2020 Royal Rumble, or if they tease another match with him against Brock at Mania? I don't know if they'll tease. I don't know if they'll riot like this, because WWE will make sure to get Rey Mysterio involved, and that if he's Rey's buddy, then, if we love Rey. I don't think they're going that route, though. I know they wanted to do a rematch, but it was god-awful. And I told all of you, yeah, he got injured too, but I told all of you with Saudi Arabia, I said, for people out there that think that Cain Velasquez and the other freaking guy was going to be sticking around and doing other things, I just didn't see that. I don't think WWE sees big money with Cain Velasquez. Now, yeah, they may have agreed to do some stuff with them, but I'm just not seeing that. I don't think he will win the Royal Rumble. You know what? Let me just shout out Juan Luis Morales because he sent some kind words, and thank you. I didn't realize it's not a real question. Alvaro Sanchez as well. 5-0, 100-0. The ECW hat, the urine hat. Do I have it here? I don't have the urine hat here. I wore the ECW hat hyping up this episode, and it was urine color. I'll tell a quick story about it. I'll put it on the next show. I'll put it close up. That's a ECW I bought in 1995. I put it in storage in a plastic bag, so it wasn't like exposed to the elements. And I was going through some of my old stuff the other day, try to find some cool shirts and everything, and I pull out the ECW hat. I put it on. I didn't look at it first, and I look in the mirror, and I'm looking at it closely. It looks like, you know when you pee, you have urine color like yellowish, and then you know what your urine looks like after you eat vitamins, that deep yellow orangey color. That's what the hat looked like. I'm like, wait, this logo was white in 1995. Now it's dark urine, vitamin urine color. I don't know what the hell happened to it. I don't know why white fabric would turn urine-colored yellow. I smelled the hat. It smelled fine. It wasn't painted. It just, for some reason, stored in plastic, which is what you're supposed to do, it turned orange. I don't know why. It was just strange. But it didn't look so bad from back here. But I'm like, wow. Yeah, urine. I'm telling you, when I put it up close, people would be like, holy shit, yeah, looks urine color. Shantez Montgomery, would ever be open to every once in a while having fans on to co-host with me? That's rough, man, because I see what goes on with Jason. Jason gets call-ins for his shows. And the problem is that you hear some people that call in just to call in and not really have anything to say, or the conversations really get rough. And you got to remember that the audience is not of one, it's of many. And, if I'm going to have somebody on for a little while, I think having it for a little while would be the right way to go. But I also would want to talk to somebody beforehand just to make sure that everybody out there would enjoy it. Because, it would be unfair to that person to come on, get a little nervous, not do all that well, and then have everybody listening berating the person. So it's not as easy as you think. There's a few people that I would love to bring aboard, but on the flip side of that too, I don't want to single people out and bring this person on, but not bringing this person on. I will be taking calls down the line. Absolutely. And, by that time, I'll have somebody who will be able to screen them, so we'll know exactly what we're going to be talking about and stuff. That's all in due time. But, I definitely have to do it the right way. I don't want anybody to be like a deer in headlights, because trust me, all of you, the past 10 days has been awesome here on YouTube. But, as awesome as this could be, it could be a complete 180 if, you put someone on and, it doesn't go well. It could be very, very awkward. And plus, you don't want to hurt the person's feelings. You know that they're not doing it to any harm, I don't exist. I'll talk about that story next week. The guy punching me in the mouth, the old man punching me in the mouth. We could talk about Jeffrey Epstein next week since he's already dead. And yeah, you know what? There's only about 7 questions here, but I'm going to save them to next week. I say we do this again next Friday. How's that sound, everybody? Next Friday, 10:15 p.m. Eastern. I'll get into the rest of the questions. We'll talk about Smackdown. We'll get into some things that I don't cover on this Monday and Wednesday shows. And we'll get into other stuff as well. So next week will obviously be shorter. And then we'll go from there. So this was awesome, man. 3 hours. God bless all of you, especially those listening live. This is awesome. I expected to come on here half the time, zoom through these questions, but This is great, and I'm loving it. And I appreciate all of your support. And if you like what I do, just spread the word. Tell other people about it, because there are tons and tons of people that still have no idea that I have moved on to video. So they might enjoy this. And once again, shout out to Dells, shout out to Shaheen, and shout out to Mish, because they are very, very instrumental of what's going on right now. They're putting a lot of work in it you don't see. And like I said, if you're on Patreon, Sunday afternoon, Mish and I will be doing a breakfast soup show, and we'll do some Royal Rumble stuff. We'll talk about NWA a little bit further. And then Monday you have DTKC Show. Sunday night you'll have the Royal Rumble pay-per-view recap right here on YouTube. And we'll have a fun, man. The one good thing about this is there's no rush. It seems like everybody's here for the long haul. So, like I said, give me about 2 months to get used to this and tweak little things and adjust little things. And, it'll be fun, because when we get to where we know the shows should be, that's when we could do like quick 5-10 minute episodes about whatever. There's going to be so many quick little things. And people are telling me to do like a daily 30-minute show or whatever. It's going to be stuff that's not even going to have anything to do with wrestling. When baseball comes around, I'm going to do some baseball stuff. Yeah, I'll be doing some stuff with politics, but I'll keep that separate. So for people out there that don't want to hear anything about politics, you don't have to hear it. So this is just the beginning. Please send your feedback. You should know by now you could say anything to me as long as you're not trolling. You have a legitimate criticism, tell me, man. I respect when you tell me to my face. You could PM me if you don't want other people to see it. You could email me. You could contact me on Twitter, @DonTonyD. Never feel that you can't say something to me. I can handle it. And you will not be berated and embarrassed or outed for it. I listen to everybody. I try to read everybody's input as quickly as I can. And thank you. So everyone, we had literally no issues technical-wise tonight. So I could call it a night. I say enjoy the rest of the weekend, and I will catch you all. If you're not on Patreon, I will catch you all again Sunday night, 10 minutes after the Royal Rumble ends. That'll give us enough time to get situated, and we'll have a quick Royal Rumble pay-per-view recap. Much love, everybody. I'll catch you all again Sunday.